All right, welcome everyone. Okay, is that you or me? I did hear an echo.
I don't think that's me.
Hello?
Try that again.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Okay, we're good. Okay. The Richmond Board of Education acknowledges and thanks the First People of the Hunkaminam language group on whose traditional and unceded territories we teach, learn, and live. Welcome, everyone. Nice to see so many people out, and nice to see our choir here as well. We have some announcement, or we have at least one announcement. Trustee Yang?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. June 21st is National Indigenous Peoples Day, a time to honor and celebrate the diverse cultures, histories, and contributions of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. It is also a day to reflect on the strength, knowledge, and enduring stewardship of the land that Indigenous peoples have upheld since time immemorial. In Richmond schools, in recognition of this day, students and staff will engage in learning rooted in the First Peoples principles of learning. This day offers opportunities to recognize and celebrate Indigenous knowledge, arts, and excellence in meaningful and respectful ways.
Thank you, Trustee Yang. Secretary Treasurer Wang, is there any materials not included in the package available to the public?
Thank you, Chairperson. Everything has been posted on our website.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to adoption of agenda. The agenda you have, there are some changes. We are going to move item 7A, which is the Elementary Track and Field District report. We're going to move it up. And also, too, we are going to add to item 8H, letter to the standing committee. So with those two changes, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Sargent, seconded by Trustee Wong. All in favor? Thank you. All right, now the good part. All right. We have a presentation tonight, the Palmer Choir Club. Do we have a staff person who's doing the invite? There we go.
Good evening. It is my honor to introduce the Palmer Secondary School Choir Club under the direction of their teacher, Miss Iris Chan. The Palmer Choir Club meets on Mondays and Fridays after school to sing. Directed by Helena Mendoza in grade 10 and accompanied by grade 9 student Zayn Tapasio. They are singing 3 songs for us this evening. White Winter Hymnal, arranged by Alan Billingsley. Take the Wings by Don Besig. And Does the World Say by Kyle Pedersen. A song about friendship and the gift of walking alongside someone buckling under the weight of pressure and expectation from the world for young people. Please join me in welcoming the Palmer Choir Club.
Swallowing the pack, all swallowed in their coats, the scarves of red tied round their throats to keep their little heads from falling in the snow. And I turned round and there you go, and Michael, you would fall and turn the white snow red as strawberries in the summertime. I turned round and there you go. And Michael, you would fall and turn the white snow red as strawberries in the summertime. Does the world say that you don't look the right way? Does the world say that you're just not enough? Does the world say that you're not in the right spot? When it wants you there but not here, and tells you all the things that you're not.
Well, I've been there too. It's hard to shut my ears to the noise.
Yes, I've been there too. I don't stand a chance if it's me in this world all alone. All the chatter is deafening, too overwhelming, hard to find my way home. So take my hand, don't let go.
Does the world say?
Does the world say you don't think the right things, and does it say
That you're not worth the
you
time?
are not worth the time? Does it laugh when you fall or when you cry? And does it turn away every time you walk by?
Well, I've been there too. It's hard to shut my ears to the noise.
Yes, I've been there too. Oh, I don't stand a chance if it's me in this world all alone. All the chatter is deafening, too overwhelming, hard to find my way home. So take my hand, don't let go. Don't let I'm growing and I'm learning, I'm loving and becoming. Growing and learning and loving, becoming, and I don't stand a chance if it's me in this world all alone. Oh, the chatter is deafening, too overwhelming, hard to find my way home. Take my hand. Take my hand. Don't let go.
Thank you very much. That was an amazing show and a great way to start the evening off. Trustees, does anyone have any questions or any comments? Trustee Larson?
Thank you. Your harmony was just magnificent, and you all must have incredible ear and alongside your beautiful voices. I saw one of you with your eyes closed singing, and I thought, oh my gosh, that person is lost in this song. Just beautiful. And your young conductor, oh my goodness, that was fascinating to watch you. Just oh, that was just lovely. Thank you very much.
Trustee Wang, followed by Trustee Tablani, followed by Trustee Rod.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chairperson. Wow, what a wonderful performance, Palmer. Thank you very much for bringing the show to us. Usually we have to trek out to see you in gyms and performance halls, but what a treat for us. You know, this is our last board meeting of the school year, and before we head out to the summer as for all of you as well. But really a wonderful three-piece of music that you brought to us, and showing us, you know, music can happen even if you don't have all the bells and whistles of instruments. So thank you very much. A special thank you to Miss Iris Chan. Yes, you're in the back, but we can see you. We usually cross paths at the Remembrance Day ceremonies, but you and your group are evident of the passionate musical work that students do within school and outside of school. So thank you for bringing that. And yeah, I wish you all a very happy summer. And if you are grade 12 and moving forward, I wish you all the best in your musical journeys ahead. Thank you very much.
Trustee DeBlotny, followed by Trustee Beliza.
Yeah, well, I have to thank you, like everyone else has. Palmer is usually noteworthy for the Remembrance Day ceremony in Flanders Fields, but clearly you have lots of other talents, and I was amazed at the choices of music. That was really interesting. And the rhythms and, gosh, I wouldn't remember all those. But I think the joy of singing, I remember being in choir when I was in school and how much I loved it. And I, took it right through elementary school, through to high school, and then my son did the same. And it's just that joy of singing, and I can see it all on your faces. And the music was just so fantastic. And this room accommodates it really well. I'm surprised because it's not built for choirs, and yet, the odd time we do have choirs coming in, it does come across just lovely. So thank you very much, because this is the beginning of you haven't looked at our agenda. It's long. So, and we've got lots of tough decisions to make, so I think it's just lovely to have you come and perform for us to start. That's really a treat. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yep,
Mr.
Trustee
Chairman.
Beliza.
Thank you very much for that beautiful rendition or presentations. And I'm proud to be and happy to be the trustee liaison for Palmer Secondary. And, there's a saying that music is the language of the soul. And tonight, your music is the language of my soul. So, again, your assets as well as your gift is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Trustee Wong.
Thank you, Chairman. So I really thank you, the Palmer Choir Club. So today's performance, before we just sit all the sit put over there, I will curiosity why this one. And when you come here, you just like sit all the sit and get the special songs performance. You not only use your mouth to sing, you use your hand to figure out and your five too, right? So really special performance. Thank you.
I think when it comes to music, I think many people wish they could either sing or play an instrument. And then there's people like myself who could do neither of those. And so I just come and sit and enjoy the music, and you folks are very, very impressive. And we go to the little kids choirs in grade 1 and grade 2, and they're so cute and everything, and they sound pretty good. But then we get to go to the graduations, and if you really notice this at the valedictorian, because they always have some of the kids, the jazz band playing, and you just recognize, like, what talented kids we have in this district, and you guys especially. And so thank you for entertaining us tonight. As Trustee DeBlonding says, we have a long night, but this makes it a lot easier. So we hope you have a great summer. And some of you are in grade 12? Is anyone? Okay, so you'll be back here next year then. I look forward to that. Thank you very much. Now, we always tell our people, our visitors, you're welcome to stay and listen to all, but if you want to leave, you're welcome to leave too. We won't be offended.
Shuffling. Ken?
Give them a minute to clear out. Okay, let's continue on. What?
Wait for Debbie.
Oh, yeah, wait. I'm not sure if I made a mistake, but earlier on I said we were going to move item 7A, and I don't know whether I said 3D or not, but anyway, we're moving the item 7A to spot 3D on our agenda. And item, which was 7A and now 3D, is the elementary track and field district survey findings and next steps. A report from our superintendent of schools is attached. Mr. Yusi, would you like to speak to your report?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone, and trustees. As you're aware, this year we implemented a revised elementary track and field format. And we received we received feedback from parents, from staff, and from members of the community. Some in favor and some not so much in favor of the new format. And of course, as this was the first, this is the first year of the of that format, we felt it was important to engage with, to consult with our communities, students, staff, and members of the public, in terms of their experience with the new format, and then that way we have a comprehensive feedback, and we've done so. So the report that is before the board tonight is a summary of the survey results that has been tabulated and presented for the audience and for the public, and the analysis of the responses are attached as an appendix to the report, and we also have indicated what our next steps are following that survey. Of course, when we conduct a survey, when we request information from parents and from the public and from staff, it's important that we listen to that feedback and that we incorporate that feedback in information that as on a go-forward basis. We also recognize that tonight is an opportunity, if there are any additional feedback, and we'll listen to that from the audience tonight. And the next steps are included in the report. There are 3 steps that are identified clearly in that report. Namely, the first step is that as early as tomorrow, after the board meeting, the results that it's part of the package tonight will be posted on our district website to make sure that everyone who visits our district website has access to that information. Secondly, that we have the opportunity to engage with the leadership of our different employee groups, namely elementary teachers represented by the executive of the Richmond Teachers Association, our principals and elementary principals and vice principals represented by the Richmond Association of School Administrators, our CUPE support staff, school-based support staff represented by CUPE, and and also, last but not least, the Richmond Elementary Athletic Association. And the reason why that's important is because it's important. We need to make sure that there's an opportunity to review the results with our different employee group leadership, and to really determine a path forward. With the goal being that in the fall of 2020, this fall, we'll have further conversations with our elementary school staff and appropriate leadership to ensure that what we heard tonight, what we heard from the survey is incorporated in the new format for the 2027 elementary track and field day. And the reason why that's important to emphasize is that I want to assure everyone who participated in the survey, and of course we're grateful for the participation in that survey, that the format, the updated format, elementary track and field format next year, or 2027, will certainly incorporate the feedback we've received from the survey, and also from the, not just only the survey, but if there are any additional feedback tonight, and also the feedback we've received outside of the survey as well. So those are the next steps, and thank you, Mr. Chair. That's my report.
Okay. Now, we purposely move this back to this part so that it would fall just before the questions from the public. I know that, or I've told some people would be coming with questions, and so the way we've set it up is that you've heard this, the report summary, and now if you have any questions or comments, you will be able to do that now rather than wait until the end of the night. Now, we do have a list that we are, so I'm just going to read what they gave me here. Before we begin the questions from the public portion of the agenda, I'd like to remind everyone that the participation in this session must be respectful and in accordance with the District Code of Conduct and Policy 201, Board Operations. As per Policy 201, each speaker will have up to 2 minutes to ask a question or make a brief statement, and the total time allotted for this portion of the meeting is 30 minutes. We can play around with that. The board expects comments to relate to items on the public agenda and to be meaningful and courteous. The chair may intervene or end participation if conduct becomes disrespectful or inconsistent with the code of conduct. Please know that we welcome your comments and questions. Thank you in advance for taking the time to share your thoughts with the board. As per our usual process during public board meetings, staff will not respond to questions and comments regarding the elementary track and field. Staff will note your questions and comment and consider them along with the survey findings in the context of the next steps outlined in the superintendent's report as the district moves forward. Thank you for cooperating and maintaining a respectful and orderly meeting. Now, so basically we're taking questions about anything on the agenda. If you have a question or you want to make a comment, appreciate if you could go to Assistant Superintendent Lang, and he'll take down the names, and then we'll go from there. So I'm assuming no one has written any names down there, right? Does anyone have a question or a comment? And this doesn't necessarily have to be just solely about the track meet. It's the whole agenda. And also we do have a second question period later on in the evening, so in case something else pops up that you want to ask. But does anyone have any questions or comments regarding the track meet or anything?
Rob is collecting the names.
Yeah. Okay, we'll give Rob a second to collect some names, and then okay, that's fine. Okay, let's just go in order. Dean Billings, followed by Danny Chung, followed by Liz Barsock. Dean?
Hi there. Thanks for taking I never know where to sit here. The other one? Not that me on video is going to look any better, but there we go. I'll make this guy work, I guess. Thanks, I'm Dean Billings, the RDPA. I'm going to connect, I think, two different agenda items. Thanks the survey work and I guess a chance to revisit that, et cetera. It's kind of in the past. So the question I had, with the RDPA, we sent you guys 2 letters recently. I think I like that format because we can express the question a bit more explicitly and sometimes get a bunch of answers. The one on the track format was concerned about, I guess, the original rationale didn't make sense at the time. And really just, I guess, if people had expressed issues, like it feels like it did take a petition to get a bunch of attention. And so to me, like the broader, how that relates to the, how somebody could have presented an issue through our normal processes, our normal consultation, I guess. So if I look at the changes that you guys are proposing for the rest of the other agenda item, the change to moving to administrative procedures and so on, I guess how would that big of a change, how would that have been received, or how could people have provided feedback in that case, in the new model, I guess, if that makes sense? Was that too much?
Yeah, you know what? At this point, Dean will note the questions and record, and we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I
All right.
actually have a question for Mr. Billings.
Dean, Trustee Yang has a question.
Just on the comments you provided around the track meet. Thank you, Mr. Billings. And Chairperson, I want to assure you that my questions are relevant here. Mr. Billings, are you aware of the RDPA's constitution, specifically Section 4 of your constitution?
The section's not coming to mind, but what's it about?
I'll just read it for the public's awareness. And I'm reading from the Constitution, quote, "The business of the association shall be unbiased towards race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or political affiliation. This provision is unalterable." Chairperson, the reason I ask is there's a correspondence that I believe Mr. Billings had sent out to the public, and I'll just put that on the record as well. Quote, "Make your voice," the date of this communication was June 6th. Quote, "Make your voice heard. Richmond School District removes gender divisions and individual awards from elementary track meets." And then it does a translation in Chinese. And this is, unquote, "This is a communication put out by an electoral organization and its school board team. And in this communication, your name is mentioned as the Richmond District Parents Association president." So, Mr. Billings, my question to you is, do you believe that your political affiliation has blurred with the business of your association? And if so, do you believe that you, in turn of your comments, have constituted a conflict of interest and puts in jeopardy of the credibility of your organization, who's supposed to be speaking for all parents?
Before you answer that question, much in the same way, what we said was, we will get back to you. Yes. You have the same opportunity as well. You're welcome to answer it, but if you want to, like you mentioned, sending things back through correspondence or written word or whatever, it seemed to work for you. So it's your choice.
My immediate interpretation, I can send a response by email, but my immediate interpretation of that particular clause is that it refers to actions such as in 2018 when the RDPA endorsed particular candidates. I think that's the kind of action that it's not supposed to be taking. Instead of people belonging to different political parties and so on, I think they're allowed to belong to groups. And obviously, lots of people are concerned about governance, right? We're all here because we know how important school districts are, and that manifests itself in different ways. So I can provide a full response.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. The question is with regard to track and field. Now we're talking about conflict of interest based on whatever, Billy.
Well, well, trustee Yangston Lee weigh in, and let's say it.
With all due respect, of course, to trustee Yang.
Can I just respond to that point of order? I believe that the whole reason I'm asking is because Mr. Billings, in his capacity as RDPA president, has made, as you have, rightfully so, made come to us with questions and have made submissions on behalf of parents in this community. What I find troubling is that you're putting on that same hat and doing so for the interest of your political activism and your political affiliation, and the fact that you can't answer a yes or no question to that question I asked earlier is deeply concerning. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Once again, your choice.
I'll provide, as I mentioned, my understanding of that clause is that the RDPA cannot endorse candidates as it has done in the past, such as for the Richmond Education Party. But I'll respond to the other part by email.
All right, next up is Danny Cheng regarding track and field.
Hello, Superintendent and Trustees Councils. I'm here just to, because I'm a parent of SD38, and a few parents and I have talked about the track meet this year. I was there myself too. And I personally like the format of separating the competitive and the non-competitive groups. And I'm just wondering if there's any way we can bring the ribbons back to the competitive group next year. And also, if we do bring back the competitive format next year, will there be any public consultations to have the parents be more engaged in the process? Yeah, that's just my questions. Yeah.
Okay, once again, we're going to note the question, and when the report comes out in the next few days, there'll be a response in there addressing that. All right. Thank you. Liz Baverstock.
Liz Baverstock, President, Richmond Teachers Association. I just want to, I've got a question, actually in regards to, we have the survey findings and next steps, and in the survey findings, which I'm appreciative, and I know teachers are appreciative of the ability to participate in a survey immediately after the new format. I think that is always wise to do, is to do a survey after there's change, because there's always opportunity to tweak things. You learn from these opportunities. That's what we're all about. We are learning opportunities. And there's a lot of information in this report. And I know as well, and I really do appreciate that before the end of the school year, there will be opportunity for partner groups to be consulted with. And so I think that is good. And also the Richmond Elementary Athletics Association, who really did a lot of the work on the new format after we had working groups last year. And then that association was formed. There was a survey in the fall, and then we have a new format, and now we have a survey to look at that. I also appreciate that in the fall there will be ongoing work with principals, vice principals, and staff at elementary schools. Also the right thing to do in order to try and figure out, what are the things that we need to change? What are the things that actually worked well? And I think those who attended the track saw things that worked incredibly well, and probably saw some things that we will need to consider. Where I'm confused, and I think my question is we have this report which really makes a commitment to do a number of things that I think are definitely things that the district should be doing, from the superintendent directing that work. But then we have a notice of motion. And so I'm confused by this notice of motion, because it's now asking to report back on options. And to me, then it's like, well, then it'll be options. Is that going to then be a board decision? Are you going to be voting on options? Because the report from the superintendent very clearly says we have a survey and we're going to go back and work with the partner groups and we're going to work with the associations and we're going to work with elementary schools. And so this motion, for me, that's my question. And I'll leave you to discuss that later. I don't need an answer now, but I'm confused by it. I'm confused how these things work together, especially when I think about the governance piece. When I think about board policy and regulations and your role, and then the administrative guidelines that we currently have that will become administrative procedures, how this all works together going forward. You know, I absolutely agree and would love to see like that our conversation is, how do we talk about supporting classrooms on a regular basis with more support? That's what I want to see discussed. So I will leave it at that, but I am a bit confused on, we've got a report and then we have a notice of motion. And I think we've got a lot of work to do in the fall. And we have lots of time before the next series of elementary track will occur. Thanks.
Trustee Sargent?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Baverstock. I too am very confused by the notice of motion that will come in September. I think our superintendent has laid out a very strong plan, which I totally support. And I think the most important thing is that educators are going to be talking about how to make this better. And as you say, not to get into the weeds or anything, but as a district, we always reflect. Especially when there was a committee formed, and there was lots of discussion about how do we see education moving to the 21st century within PHE. And so I appreciate the staff trying. I don't want to talk too much, but I want to reassure the public that your voice is important, and your voice was heard. And we took, I know all of us read the survey intensely, and we appreciate you taking the time. And I guess in September we'll get to say that a bit more. But I don't want confusion, Ms. Baverstock, left with the community. There is a notice of motion, and that is, I guess, policy. It will have to come to the board for debate. But again, what our superintendent has laid out is a very, very, in my opinion, something that is really listening to the ground and listening to our educators who are educated and are given the job to make sure our students learn in the 21st century. And anyways, I know this isn't an opportunity to debrief, but it makes me a little upset and concerned that our president of our Teachers Association, rightfully so, is confused with direction. I personally am not confused with the direction that we're taking. Thank you.
Trustee Beliza?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is another area I'd like to ask. Thank you, first of all, for the district survey findings and next steps. And as you know, there are 2,157 students, parent 2,413 who participated in the survey. As we know, there are 22,000 students we have in our school district. So this represents 20% roughly of the respondents. Now my question is, while the findings limit to those who responded with the survey, my question is, what happened to the 80% who didn't? So what probably I would be respectfully asking the staff to consider the option of those who haven't participated, because the mandate that we have is to develop the individual potential of all students. So while we respond to the 20%, we should also consider the interest and the benefit of the others who haven't participated in the survey. And just quickly responding to my notice of motion, it exactly addresses that. And if there is a better options, I will withdraw my motion, as long as we consider the 100% of our populations, of all our students. Thank you.
You know, as a board chair, I have certain responsibilities. One of them is when members come forward and bring motions, I have to sort of weigh them and like, do they fall within the guidelines and sort of do they meet the criteria for to be able to be presented at a board meeting. Trustee Belize's motion met the criteria of being presentable. Now, what happens in September when the when the motion comes to the floor is another thing. If there's enough support for it, it will move on, and if it's not, then it will die on the floor. And so I can see why there is some confusion, and you know, there was discussion about should this be there or not, but also too, all the trustees have a right to put forward motions that they see as being important, and then it's up to the trustees as a group to vote on it. So that's where we sit right now, in that the motion's there. Our superintendent is going to go away from tonight, and he will have feedback, not only from the survey, but also from, you know, from the questions and the comments that are made tonight. And at the same time, too, trustees are giving their comments, and I trust that our senior team and our superintendent will take those comments into account as well. And on that note, you know, my feelings about this whole situation is, you know, it's unfortunate that it got to the level that it did. I think deep down everyone wants sort of, you know, the same thing in terms of having a good program for the kids. But there's different ways of doing it. And you know, the one comment that was made to me quite a bit was, you went from doing this to now doing this. And you forgot about all the people on this side who liked it this way and preferred the old way and the ribbons and so forth. And so, you know, my hope is through all this is that our team, our senior team, take into account all the ideas and also too, and not be quick to throw out this idea because you want to do this way. We can combine ideas, and it's already been said that, you know, hopefully, you know, we can get a blend of the good ideas that came out from last year's model versus this year's model, and come up with something that, you know, that works for as many kids as possible. You know, because the bottom line is you're never going to get something that appeals to everyone, but you want to gather, you know, hopefully you can capture something that, you know, as many kids as possible will enjoy and benefit. Just sort of on a personal observation, like I went to three of the sports days, and the whole bit about separating the kids, and I talked to some of them, and you know, some of them were quite comfortable with it, and yet at the other in another instance, some of the kids are saying, well, no, like last year was better, and just, you know, in terms of a quick sort of, not a poll, but personally, I don't have a problem with kids getting ribbons. I think when they're in grade 8 and grade 9 and 10, the ribbons will go, what did I get these ribbons for? But as a kid, and I know this from my experience in hockey, kids love their first trophies and their participation medals. And so, you know, I don't see a problem there. As for the competition being unisex and boys versus, you know, mixing the two together, you know, one of the goals of our track meet was to try to encourage kids to try, you know, to try different sports and to try to grow it. Now, this may be kind of case specific, but my experience in hockey when it comes to female hockey and girls hockey and boys hockey is, you know, I was with the Boys Hockey Association, and we would talk to the Girls Association and say, come and join us. We'll make sure you guys are taken care of. And their people stood up and said no, because, you know, some of our girls, they just want to play with the girls. And, you know, when it comes to all competing together, you know, the issue was raised is I don't want my daughter going against, you know, my 12-year-old daughter racing against a 12-year-old boy in the sprint, and I mean, that's not fair. And that's kind of what resonated with me is, what's fair, right? And that's what we need to do. So hopefully when Superintendent Yusi and his team get together, that they will come up with a process that incorporates the best ideas that are out there, because there's a lot of good ideas out there. And also, too, it will be fair, equitable, and as I said earlier on, too, can't please everyone, but hopefully pleases as many kids as possible. Trustee Sargent, your hand was up.
Yeah, thank you.
I talked so long, I probably.
Sir, point of order. Do we have questions for
I have a
Baverstock,
I have a
actually,
point
but-
for Ms. Baverstock.
Yes, if you have.
I also wonder too, like, because trustees, I'm sure we have questions or comments about the report itself.
Yes.
When would that be the?
Well, I was hoping that after questions, that everyone would get an opportunity to state their comments.
Okay, yeah.
All right?
I just want to make sure, because I think we're getting into that territory.
You are,
I
because,
just wanted to make sure.
well,
that
there's no more names left on
we're
the
still
sheet here, so.
We're still in question period right now, so.
If I may, just clarity on Ms. Baverstock's question around governance and operations. I think for the public, it gets very confusing about our role as a board. And, sorry?
That was what I was going to speak to as well.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't
good.
know
Then you
what
can
order
too.
you took the hands in.
Okay, Trustee
So I
Sargent,
just,
you've had
if I
a
could
chance to
finish
speak.
my
Can
thought,
you,
yeah.
can we let Trustee Tablotny go
Could
and
I
then
just
come
finish
right
my
back to you?
thought, and then you can agree to it or disagree to it. So I just wanted to say, as far as the public, there is a difference between governance and operations. As a board, we create policy, and we give delegation to our superintendent, who looks after the educational piece for students. And so that's based on what is best for students educationally, and working with our staff, such as Ms. Baverstock. But I think it gets thrown around a bit, governance and operations, and I think we can do a better job in discussing what that actually means. I'm not sure the notice of motion it just confuses things, because we do not get in generally into operations. Our job is to be a conduit to the public and make sure there is process, that there is an opportunity for you to share how you feel about what our superintendent or we are doing. So we can talk further about that. I don't blame the public, because why would they know this? But it is really important to notice the differentiation and not to confuse our public as well. Thank you.
Okay, so trustees, there are no more questions left, but, so thank you, Liz. Now, but we will go through, and if people have comments or thoughts, and what we'll do is we'll work our way down here and go all the way through. So, Trustee Tablotny, my apologies for earlier on.
Yeah, well, I think we do need to follow order of hands as a reminder to the chair, but I might, what Trustee Sargent was mentioning was going to be my comments too. There is a difference between governance and the superintendent's administration of his staff. And this group of people that were, got together and looked at the track format, the track and field format, they were trying to fix something. There were some complex problems in the format as it was. And so they were getting together to try and fix it. And nothing ventured, nothing gained. They tried it, and there was some pushback. And so, there has been a survey. When you try something, you certainly want to find out how it worked. And that was the survey that went out to all parents. And so I think a lot of things can be adjusted based on the feedback that came back. I think the notice of motion, and that's what's creating confusion, is the notice of motion, and Trustee Belize is worried that we only got 20% of respondents to the survey. He didn't even wait for that. He put in a notice of motion, actually was trying to put the notice of motion in to put the track and field program back the way it was at the last meeting. And now he's got another notice of motion that he's changed, and he says he may withdraw the motion in September if it suits, his ideas. So the notice of motion is creating confusion because it really isn't up to trustees to create these programs. Yes, we oversee it. Yes, we oversee the success of students, and that is through the superintendent is responsible to the board to ensure that success of students and success of programs. But we are not the educators. The educators were involved in adjusting these programs, and the educators will be involved in adjusting these programs with the supervision of senior staff and the superintendent. And so we need to remember that. We need to stay on our lanes, and the trustees and the Board of Education needs to govern, policy and set programs and work with the superintendent. And the superintendent oversees his staff and the programs that are created for students. And that is the ultimate difference. And that is what I believe Ms. Baverstock was getting to. I think it's really important for parents to remember that. Yes, you had input. You got to, participate in the survey. We did everything we could do to put it out once, there was some concerns about the program. Got the survey out. We got 20% back. There may be more comments that will come in response in the meantime. But, if people didn't fill out the survey, maybe they were quite satisfied with what happened. I don't know. So it will all wash itself out hopefully in September, and we'll come up with a good program. I do believe that, competition is good for kids. I believe that all students having the opportunity to compete and to learn to compete is a good thing too. And ribbons, I used to love my ribbons. I think I still have some, and I kept all my kids. So
Okay, Trustee
that's my
Kalani.
input for now, but the
Move on
notice of motion
to-
is premature.
Trustee Wong, is there anything you want to comment on this?
Thank you, Chairman. So as that,
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. With all due respect to my fellow trustees, the very purpose of notice of motion has been grossly violated, if I could say that. Notice of motion is giving the trustees time to analyze the motion for the next board meeting, and to discuss it now is a violation of our policies, and giving the chance already to discuss the body of the motions. The very purpose of that motion is to provide the public, that we as trustee are also concerned of the interest and the concerns of the community. So I will leave at that. We will have discussion on the next board meeting, as I have said.
Right. I'd just like to
Unless other
clarify,
better option, then I will withdraw.
Trustee Beliza, when you filed your notice of motion, the understanding is that there's no discussion about it, but discussion came out through the question period, and that's what kind of clouded it. So my apologies. We should, if we can move on from the notice of motion, because that still needs to be dealt with separately. Trustee Wong?
so as me, just like now the survey is coming out, so before, why we have this survey? Because before, just like have 4 schools, the survey from the parents and the staff. So this survey coming out is really transparent. So all the communication is put on the every school website and the school district website. So now is that without superintendent say have a next step, that's the survey finding concern about, and everything coming out, so we can have a staff and the QP and the RTA person get get together to make any improve of the new format, or instead of the traditional format. As me is really hope that both of them combine into one chat of field, because every student have opportunity to try, and the others competition ethics and can get their weapon and the competition. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Larson.
For me, the most important thing for parents to take away from this room tonight or from where they read, as what our superintendent spoke to in the, with regards to the survey, is that the most important thing that is going to happen now is that coming together, as Trustee Wong said, with the RTA, with QP, with the principals, the people who are going to make it happen, because they're the ones that are out there, whatever. So the survey has given us lots of good information. We've heard it, but as parents see it now, or we all see it now, we see it as a track and field. But there's a lot of work that is happening behind that scene to make sure that they get there on time. Is it going to be bus? Is it going to be volunteer? So there's a lot of consultation that with our partner groups that has to take place, as Superintendent Usi mentioned at the beginning of his speech. So I think that's the most important thing for parents to know, that now is that building part. And again, with our partner groups is very important to take away.
Someone else a question? You need to sign up for, and, all right, Trustee Yang, final comments?
Yes, I do. Well, thank you very much. And, you know, I really do want to thank folks for coming out tonight, and, you know, and as well, a shout out to folks that are listening online as well. I know that not everybody can be in the room, but they want to hear what we have to say and what the superintendent has presented before us today. I'm not going to give another governance 101 for everybody, just because I know a few of my colleagues did already. This is only for information tonight. And, you know, considering the amount of interest this has garnered, we felt as a board that we should, at the very least, be taking a look at what exactly is the issue at hand. And I think we've done that through the survey and through the information presented. So I want to thank the superintendent and the senior staff for doing that. Just a quick comment as well on format, because that's, it doesn't matter whether you are in track and field or you're in hockey or in any other sport. Being a former, you know, minor league coach, I can tell you that I've been through, and as a player too, I've been through sports leagues where there are it's just a range of levels of competition, formats of competition, and I think we need to acknowledge that. You know, I remember the days when ball hockey was, you know, for most boys, you can have a division where it's open for everybody, while tiered by competition level or ability, while maintaining a more females-friendly division. And all of that's to say is that, you know, models and ways of competition can coexist. It's not one or zero in most instances, and I believe that's important to keep in mind. This is in the Olympics. The Olympians aren't participating in our track and field meets, but I think it is important. And that brings me to my next point, actually, is ultimately I believe that there needs to be a right calibration between meaningful competition for those who we're concerned about, which is our grade 4 to 7 students, and at the same time to bring along all learners. And I'll just focus on the latter of that, because as a public education entity, we have an obligation to meet the needs of all students, and that includes those who excel in sports, can compete and can win and podium, but also for students who may not be fully engaged in sports or are just getting into learning more about different different events or different, so the exposure level is very diverse, and so is the ability. So I believe that that needs to be addressed moving forward. And also the meaningful competition, because as my colleagues have said, there is something to be said when the first a student who competes in their first track meet receives just anything of recognition to say, to note that they have done it. They have achieved something that they haven't achieved before, and I think there's value in that too, and I think that's would be meaningful for participants moving forward. And I'm just, this is an example, but there can be many examples where we create meaningful competition. Again, it's not a question of mutual exclusivity. And, you know, I think despite all the conversations, I believe that there is a common goal in that we want to ensure that all students can participate in track meets moving forward. The how is the key, and that's something I'm confident that the staff can make, a decision that staff can make as it is their day-to-day operational decision as educational leaders, educational professionals. So thank you. I'll leave it at that.
Before Trustee Sargent and Trustee Belida speak, we have some questions. Phyllis, do you want to come on up?
Yeah, thank you for your time. I have a question after reading parts of the agenda in regards to the track meet. I realize that it seems like for the format that was used for the 2025 to 2026 track meet, on average, be it parents, students, community members, on average, there are about 71% of participants in the survey that have expressed, I guess, or the discontent or with, I guess, the changes to the track meet compared to like prior year or years. And I'm not really understanding as to why, for example, that this survey wasn't conducted before any changes to prior formats are made. What I don't get is, like, based on what logic or proof or educational processes has the board or the teams that it's delegated to execute this change in the format of the track meet, like it's based on what grounds? When like this current survey has basically generated results showing that there's over 71% of participants who are unhappy with the changes that are made. So based on literally what? Like, has the board been just going ahead and just making these changes? And the reason why I want to question that is, does that mean if there are decisions that are made that is not related to track meets, that is made about any kind of processes or decisions related to elementary or high school students, the board can just go ahead and make those changes without any kind of due process, without any kind of consultation? Like, that actually worries me, because I feel that is undermining the entire board's trust and how it actually serves the community. So yeah, I just want to hear what maybe the board has to say.
Senior staff, not asking about this year, but can someone explain, like last year there was a pilot project done?
Yes, through the chair. Thank you very much for your question. And let me just begin by saying that there is significant engagement with our partner groups in this district. And the board expects that in terms of decision making. So we make a lot of decisions during the year. It's not just elementary track and field. Of course, this was the case here. Let's be clear, 71% or 72%, whatever the number is, of the respondents to the survey indicated that information. Be that as it may, that's solid data. That's data that we acknowledge. What I would say to you is that this wasn't done at a whim. Staff had conversations with schools, with some staff, and that conversation, with the best of intentions, was to how do we create opportunities for all students to participate in the annual track so that students are not left behind. And I think you heard from a member of the board tonight in terms of our commitment to ensuring that all students have opportunities to participate in educational opportunities. So this wasn't sort of a switch. This was conversation that happened with pilot school. This was piloted. There was wanted to see how this will. You've heard that the schools that participated last year or that were part of the pilot, there was conversation that took place. And of course, I would be candid and say to you that you're never going to get 100% any group, any population, whether that's staff or parents or so on. So I respect your question in terms of how the decision was made. But rest assured, in conversation with staff, I can say to you with full confidence that there were ample conversations around this proposed model. And yes, it's our first year of doing it. And quite frankly, I hope that parents will take away tonight that we're responsive to feedback. The district did not wait another year. The district felt very strongly that based on the feedback we received from parents and the public, it was important for us to get the broader perspective from the entire district. And we did that. We did that without wasting, we didn't even wait for the track meet to finish before the survey was launched. So this was not, the survey was not in response to concerns from certain segment of the population around this. We acted, we said, okay, wait a minute. People are saying to us that they don't like it or aspect of the track, and some people say they like it. So we did not wait until the end of the track meet to launch a survey. And I hope that speaks to your point around responsiveness. But I wouldn't want to leave you with the impression tonight, or any parent watching tonight, that the district makes decisions that are ill-informed. I would say to you, quite frankly, in this particular case, it was based on feedback on how we expand opportunities for all students. And that's, did everything play out the way we anticipated? That all parents will, say, well, we like this aspect, would like that aspect? No. But that's good that we've gotten that feedback from parents and from staff and from students. And that's why, we're a learning organization. And I would rather work in an organization where we are not totally tone deaf to feedback. And I know that one of the things that I'm so proud of this district, and the board expects staff to engage with our partner groups at every step of the way. That's a priority of this board. And I'll tell you right now, there's no decision that is made in this district that is significant in terms of that impacts student learning, where the board does not expect a level of engagement with the individuals that are directly impacted. So what I will say to you tonight in closing is that based on the feedback we've received from the survey and the feedback tonight from yourself and others, these will inform our next steps in terms of saying, okay, so we've heard some things. How do we incorporate that so that next year, the track and field format for the 27 spring session will incorporate the feedback we've received, while at the same time meeting the needs of every learner in this district. So I think that's a critical piece because we're committed to serving all students, not just a few students. So what we've heard tonight, and I think you heard trustees reiterate that, there's a place to make sure that those students who want to compete in a certain way, there's an opportunity for those students to do that. But there's also an opportunity. We also have to think about how we make sure that other students have an opportunity as well. And that's the conversation we need to have with our partner groups. And I'm confident, fully confident, that we'll come up with a solution that I think works for all. So thank you very much for your question.
Thank you.
Well, I could just add on to that. It's like an attached question.
You had a couple of minutes, right?
Okay, yeah, because it was really great and comprehensive answers, but that took up some time. But my question,
You can also
short.
contact, you can email the you can email as well. And
Sure, I'll just make a comment because I think my question was less than 10 words, I'm pretty sure, like the first question. So just a really quick comment. The reason I want to bring this up is I realize for this track meet format for 2025-2026, it seems like to some of the community members that it was just implemented without a massive public consultation from participants of maybe every single elementary school in the city of Richmond. At least, even if that was not the case, there's like feelings that some members of the public would feel that way. Now, that would tie to maybe something that I brought up several months ago about a potential suggestion of having utilization of hard drugs awareness week, something like that, or another topic.
Can I just stop you right
Yeah,
now?
but what I don't get is I think things like all of these things need public consultation.
For a couple of minutes. So
No, sorry, I only spoke for less than 3 minutes. I've been timing myself. So I'll just quickly finish, at least have my proper time slot. I think that means proposals like these from the public needs to also be allocated to receiving public consultation before the district or the board turns things down. Like, that's something I feel like we need fairness and equity on multiple different issues, not just on issues that districts like, they can just go ahead and implement it without proper public consultation. So I just want to make this point tonight, and I hope the board would maybe digest what I say.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you heard what our superintendent said tonight as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, next is Kim Nowicki. You're, okay? And Connie.
Point of order, Chairperson.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I know that this is a longer than usual question period than we're used to, but I do recall that folks have 3 minutes for their questions. I'm sorry I can't cite the bylaw, exact bylaw for you, but I think in fairness to everybody who's coming forward, I think we really have to enforce the time limit that folks have. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Connie?
Still welcome me to ask the questions.
You still are welcome.
Thank you, Chair. So my name is Connie Huang. Actually, is RDPA president this year. So as the parent, tonight I would like to very concerned about the track and field it. So it's for a long time. So since it's a month. So I am the RDPA president. So I didn't know anything before the parent pull up. So everything on the Richmond News. So my question is it the districts kick out RDPAs?
Can you say that again?
The districts systems kick out the parents. So whatever you guys make the decision, so you have it. You don't need to ask RDPA to attend the meeting. So since I saw the president report, you will have a partner group, so included elementary principal, RAS8, RTA, CUPE, but no RDPAs. So my question is, may I ask for when you have the meeting in the September, it's okay included RDPA?
Through the chair, if I may respond. Well, first of all, thank you for your question. Just to clarify, the survey was open to all. So parents have completed the survey, students, staff, everybody completed the survey. What we're talking about is the implementation of an action. So the district, it's that we've gathered feedback we've gathered feedback from the community, from the public, from staff, from parents, and everybody else. So if you notice there, it says employee partner groups. Mm-hmm. I just want to underscore employee. And the reason why it says employee partner groups is because, as you've currently heard tonight from one of our trustees, there are a lot of planning and a lot of actions that is required to implement anything that the district does. So we need to work with staff who are directly connected to the work. So this is not a deliberate way to sideline RODPA or any partner, other partners. But, just to be very clear, that anytime, there are a lot of decisions that are made throughout the year in schools, in school districts. Sometimes the ministry requires us to implement certain things. Sometimes the district, as a result of our strategic plan. Not every single decision that is made at the school level, at the district level, involves a survey of the entire community to say, well, what do you think? So districts, it's not just Richmond, but so respectfully, what I would say to you is that please don't, I wouldn't want you to read into that second step in the outline that we're intentionally ignoring RODPA or any group. It says employee groups because the employees are the ones who are going to, they are the teachers, the school-based support staff, our school leaders. They're the ones who are implementing the action. And because they're the ones implementing the action, the right thing to do is not just only the right thing to do, we have collective agreement, language, right? So we have expectations of our school leaders for all our employee groups. So it's not a question of saying to staff, here is something, just go and implement it. I mean, that would be poor execution. So the responsible thing to do, and quite frankly, the contractual thing to do, is to meet with individuals who are directly connected to that work and say, well, what do you think? What do you think? What's your best advice? And it's only that way that we can get to a place where whatever the plan is one that we have full confidence and buy-in from staff and everybody else connected to that. Again, I'll just conclude by saying that I'm absolutely confident that where we land as a result of this conversation with our partner groups, and certainly in the fall with our school leaders and staff, will lead us to a place where, quite frankly, would be a more comprehensive response than just one that would have been done in my office or somebody else's office without that critical conversation. Sorry for that lengthy response.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
So I want to say, if you included RDPA, parent, and the trustees, so make the decision, that would be great. That's my comment and suggest.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're extended our question period, so we're going to keep moving on here. Oh, sorry, you two get filed. Go ahead, Trustee Sargent, and followed by Trustee Belisa.
Yeah, thank you, and I know I had a bit of time before, so I appreciate that. There's some blanket comments made this evening that really have nothing to do with track and field and trying to make it better. And I just want to reassure the listening audience that our focus is on the learner. That sign is not there for a joke. In fact, this room got renovated and the sign was taken down and a big R was put up there. And we were upset about that. And because our focus is on the learner. So I don't want it left that the staff here, the staff on the ground, the assistant superintendents, our superintendent, the major discussions that happen around how do we make it better for students is missing here. Do you think that people just went in a room and said, I think just for fun we're going to change stuff? And I'm not making light of it, but I want you to know that this was done in a very deep, meaningful way based on what people feel in the 21st century young people need. Not what they needed before, what they need today. And did they get it right? Maybe not. But that's what our staff do, is they're focused on the students. And I'm so proud of this district because stakeholders across the province aren't valued and appreciated like they are here. We have committees. We don't do anything unless the partners are at the table. To say that parents aren't at the table is incorrect. And we actually, during our strategic planning, added a whole other number 4 as a goal, that our partners are everything to us. So please, make your comments about track and field and how we can do better, but don't make comments about our staff who are behind me and all the ones on the ground trying to make things better. In my view, I think there was a communication gap. And I think that that meaningful discussion at the school level maybe didn't happen all over the place. And so what happens when that happens is you get misinformation. And this was a lot about misinformation. There are things, competition's going to happen. Maybe the ribbon wasn't going to happen, but competition, they created 2 lanes so that if you wanted to, anyways, I don't want to debate the merits of it. I'm not an educator, but I support educators trying to be better because we don't want to be a stale system. We want to try new things, and we are going to ask the ground what you think. And you told us what you thought. And that opinion will go into an educator discussion. And I know as a mom, as a Gama, I want staff to make the decision that's best for kids. Not because everybody got so upset and things changed. That's not what happens here. Parents and stakeholders have a big voice here, but it's also grounded in what's best for education. So if you can go online and look up the Council Board Liaison Committee meeting, which 3 of our staff were there and presented really holistically what they were trying to do, I think it would really be helpful. And if you can ask your principals, can we talk about PHE in the 21st century? What are you trying to do? And then add your opinion there. And I'm sorry, I feel like I'm on a soapbox, but don't make statements for the sake of making statements about our district. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Trustee Beliza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very unfortunate that there are many oppositions, discussions, even before my motion had been read. How could we? In a democratic society where the trustees or the board is entrusted to advocate for the interests of the community, then to me, it's something that we sworn in to represent. If you remember, there are many petitioners, thousands of them, advocating for change, for competition. As member of the board, as trustee, I feel it's my responsibility to represent that part of our community. So what is wrong? What is wrong in trying to advocate through motions, asking for options? It is not a question of governance. I mean, it's a question of operation because we are asking option as part of the oversight function of the board, a part of our governance functions. So in so doing, I am trying to challenge the board itself to find a better option than what I'm asking for, making sure that the 100% of our students, which is the focus of the learners, so to speak, are being represented and being considered in our desire to have student success and development of individual potential. So confusion, I don't think so, because it is everybody's concern to make sure that our students will be successful in developing their individual potential. So as there are many options, we will choose as member of the board the best options. And if you can find out there the best option, then I will withdraw my motion. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you everyone for a very stimulating discussion. Okay, we are going to move on. Now, folks, we do have another question period later on. If something comes to mind that you want to ask, We're going to get back to our agenda and item, we have the report from executive.
Well, yes, well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. As we approach the end of another school year, I want to express my appreciation to our staff across our district for their dedication and commitment throughout the year. Whether they work in classrooms, schools, offices, or departments across the district, staff have made a meaningful difference in the lives of students and families here in Richmond. It is because of their collective efforts that our district continues to fulfill our vision of being the best place to learn and lead. This year, we've witnessed many accomplishments across the district. We have seen students excel academically and in all aspects of school life. And we saw an example of that in the boardroom tonight with a choir. And just interestingly enough, I spent part of my day today at Woke Elementary School and watched students perform in a band. And I really hope that, for those present tonight and those who are viewing tonight, as you visit your schools and see the incredible work that is happening across this district, I hope you left with joy and pride of what our young people do each and every day in every one of our schools across the district. These successes reflect not only on the dedication of our students, but also the encouragement and support from staff, families, and the broader community. Together, we help create conditions in which students succeed. One of our major accomplishments this year, Mr. Chair, as you know, was the board's approval of the Richmond School District's Strategic Plan 2026-2030. The plan, approved by the board in January, sets the district's direction for the next 5 years and reflects a shared commitment to learning, well-being, and continuous improvement. And I think that's what we're talking about tonight, continuous improvement. No matter how excellent we are, no matter how great we are as an organization, we are committed to continuous improvement, and that's a good thing. The strategic plan was shaped through extensive engagement with students, staff, families, partner groups, many of whom are present in the room here tonight, and community members. And the plan will certainly guide our collective work going forward. Another reason to celebrate is the addition of a new City Center Elementary School that is scheduled to open this fall. We're excited to welcome students, staff, and families to the new school. June is also synonymous with graduations and awards and points of celebration in our district. To our graduating students, I offer congratulations and best wishes as they transition to post-secondary education or to the workplace. To our grade 7 students, I also offer congratulations as they get ready for secondary school this fall. We look forward to welcoming them to their respective secondary schools and supporting them as they continue on their learning journey here in the Richmond School District. I'd also like to recognize and congratulate staff who are retiring this year from the district. To the teachers, support staff, school administrators, central department staff, and the many others whose service has helped shape our district, made our district the very best place to learn and work, I say thank you. Their contributions have shaped generations of learners in our district, have strengthened our schools, enriched our communities. We are deeply grateful for their years of dedication and service to the district, and we wish all of them the very best in their next chapter. Last but not least, I'd like to publicly acknowledge and thank the board. This board continues to advocate every step of the way for the best interests and supports to provide the tools and the resources that we need to continue to support students in our district. So I want to thank the board. Summer is upon us. I hope the summer brings each of you the time to rest, reflect, and enjoy time with family and friends. I certainly look forward to the year ahead and to continuing the good work that we do across our school district to support our students each day, every day. And I think you heard Trustee Sargent mention tonight, our focus is on the learner. And I must say to you, after completing my third year in this privileged role as superintendent, and I'm most honored to serve a district, to serve your children daily with incredible team of adults who show up each and every day to make sure that our students get the best that they deserve. And for that, I'm grateful. And I say thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Child care program?
Oh, yes. I'll invite Assistant Superintendent Nasa and District Administrator.
Thank you so much. It's our pleasure, myself and District Administrator Catherine Jewell, to provide you with a high-level overview of childcare programs within the school district. This presentation is intended to be just a high-level overview, and it does support the written report that is in your package. As I said, we'll provide a high-level overview, and what we're hoping to do is to give you a sense of our approach to childcare in the school district, to give you a little bit of background in terms of the childcare context as it stands today. As you can imagine, access to flexible and affordable childcare is a high priority for many of our families. And so we have some good news to share tonight as well in terms of the work that's underway to increase access to childcare across several of our schools. Childcare on school grounds is guided by a number of factors, including the School Act, the district, our board policy, Ministry of Education priorities, community need, and of course, available space within our schools. The Ministry of Education context is an important one to take note of. As you know, affordable childcare within schools is a high priority for our Ministry of Education, particularly as it pertains to our learners. So that is school-age childcare, and that is often referred to as before and after school care. That is across most of our elementary schools. Having said that, opportunities need to be considered carefully when we're looking to add childcare in our schools, and in relation to enrollment, available space within schools, licensing requirements, and our long-term facilities planning. As you can imagine, once we put childcare into a school, it is our intention to have it remain there if at all possible. With all of this in mind, our goal is to support access to childcare where we can do so in a sustainable way, and where it does not compromise the educational needs of our students. At this time, the district does not directly operate any childcare programs. The model that we follow is to have third-party providers within our settings who have lease arrangements with the school district to offer that childcare across a number of age groups. All of these providers meet licensing requirements as well as district expectations of quality childcare. These leases are annual leases, and so just to provide some reassurance, because our key mandate remains K-12 education. When facilities change over time and we do need to make space for educational programs, we do have the ability to do that because we have an annual process of reviewing childcare leases within the school district. And at this time, I will turn it to Catherine to provide the rest of our presentation.
Thank you. We will start with an overview. We have a wide range of the third-party providers that provide school-age care and other types of care on school grounds, with programs for families, offering group care for young children before they enter the school system, and then, of course, the school-age care. Typically, we call that the before and after school care. Please know that all programs are licensed through Vancouver Coastal Health Care Facility Licensing Program and are subject to licensing regulations. And for your information, a detailed overview of childcare providers and their contact information is available on our district website for any public member to access. On school grounds, our providers operate in a variety of spaces in both exclusive and dedicated spaces and shared spaced arrangements, including modular purpose-built separate buildings, dedicated rooms within a school, and non-enrolling spaces or rooms identified for shared use. Shared spaces could include rooms like multi-purpose rooms, learning commons, and other non-enrolling spaces. This good work that our committees have done this past year is to create a guide to support schools and providers. This guide has a purpose to support collaborative approaches in shared spaces, and it contains guidelines, suggestions, different types of communication templates, and various supporting resources. There's also many coordinations and supports in place for childcare. Many SD38 staff play integral roles in our school district. One is the Child Care Working Group. This plays a central role in reviewing childcare needs, opportunities, and also assesses operational considerations across the school district. The group includes district staff responsible for early learning and childcare, facilities and planning, rentals, and senior leadership. The Early Learning and Childcare Lead is a position that supports the integration between the school system and the childcare providers on school grounds, and it connects knowledge of the Vancouver Coastal Health licensing requirements and other BC childcare systems that are in place to help us with problem solving and district planning. Funding for this position is provided through a Ministry of Education and Childcare Special Purpose Fund for the next 2 years. And as well, the last bullet, our rentals department plays a pivotal role in supporting childcare providers on school grounds to rent and access space with district facilities in accordance with established rental guidelines and agreements. A key part of our work is to assess community need and consider expansion opportunities. We do this by examining opportunities for childcare through a data-informed lens, using a variety of sources, including surveys, school enrollment, and provider-reported demand and waitlist information. We also reference this data to the long-range facilities plan, school enrollment projections, and various available community research. And where factors align, the district works with providers, schools, and ministry processes to support the creation or expansion of school-age childcare spaces. The district, this is the good news, the district is currently supporting several projects intended to add new spaces, expand existing spaces, or ensure continuity of service for families. This chart here identifies and outlines current and planned projects where opportunities have been identified and work is currently underway. Projects include new locations, as you can see, expansion to existing sites, and replacement providers as needed. We're also looking ahead at Diefenbaker Elementary's seismic replacement project in the future with childcare spaces as part of the plan. So finally, next steps will be to continue to assess future opportunities and be aligned and grounded with community need and, of course, the available space that our district has. But in conclusion, I just want to reiterate that we value and support our partnerships with established third-party providers in delivering childcare in school grounds. Our partnership-based model supports the creation and continuity of childcare spaces in Richmond, and we will continue to assess our future opportunities for expansion, and we will balance the childcare needs with available space and K-12 educational requirements. Just have a moment here if there's any questions related to our presentation and the report that is attached in the agenda.
Thank you for your presentation. Trustees, are there any questions? I see Trustee Belize, followed by Trustee Larson, followed by Trustee Yang.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you very much for the tremendous work that our school district has done for the child care. As liaison for the Child Care District Advisory Committee, I see the tremendous need of the providing childcare spaces. I'd like to know how many childcare spaces that we have been providing and what's in terms of needs or numbers that we still, gonna be providing. Is there some kind of assessment or study on that? Thank you.
Absolutely. On one of the slides and in the report, we do give the current number of spaces that we have available in the Richmond School District on school grounds. And we actually just finished our annual assessment and survey of all providers. And this report that is currently just being it was just due last week by all the providers, does assess their license number of spots, how many spots they have as for their capacity in enrollment, and of their wait list numbers. And we will be assessing those surveys and adding that into our future planning.
Yep, and Trustee Belize, I can give you the exact number. It's 1,542 spaces at this time exist in the district. And as Catherine provided, there are a number of additional spaces. We're in the process of adding 84 to another 108 spaces across our schools.
Tremendous. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Larson.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the detailed work and the detailed information that you've provided us with. I can imagine that's ever-changing, like everything, ever-changing. And obviously, you've covered the many aspects that are involved and have provided us with that information. So it's much appreciative. We know that parents need to know that the childcare on the grounds is so much, makes their lives easier and easier for the kids too. They're already familiar with the building and how things work. So this is very pleasing to hear. And again, for the detail that you've looked into and researched and everything is obvious in what you've provided us with tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Trustee Larson. Trustee Yang.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chairperson. Thank you very much for the report. Great work. Catherine, you're kind of double duty today with the music and the childcare, so thank you very much for doing that. Couple questions. I know that there was a question earlier about the total number of spaces that are available in our district right now. I guess the extension of that question would be how many of those spaces are currently full, or if I were to enroll a child in a child care program, would I be able to find a spot?
We have that data, and the most recent data is as of May 1st. And once that report is complete, I'm happy to share that with the trustees, the most current. The information from last year is a year away, and so it might not be as relevant because, as you had mentioned, it's changing and evolving. And it also depends on different zones within Richmond as well. With the way that our population is dispersed. So we can provide that in an update after the fact once the report is compiled.
That would be great, thank you. And part of the reason I ask is, in conversation with childcare providers, there are stories out there where families, a space can open up, and we're talking hours, that wait list gets filled up to a waiting time of years, right? And so that's that's one facility. I'm not sure where the state of childcare and the wait times, how that plays out in the rest of the city. But yeah, to your point, I look forward to kind of seeing more of those numbers. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
All right. Are there any more questions? Yes, Trustee Blotny.
Well, I was just reading through this again, and in talking about the neighborhood learning center with Diefenbaker, we did have one at Brick House, a neighborhood learning center, and I'm wondering, is that being used for childcare? I was just looking through, trying to look at Brick House for that one.
Brick House has a before and after school care program, currently using a shared space. I'm not exactly sure the room at this moment, but I do believe it's in a shared space at Diefenbaker.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Not necessarily the neighborhood learning center area. Because I think, at Diefenbaker, is it not true that consideration is that it will be used for childcare spaces?
Yeah, and that wouldn't be the only example of neighborhood learning center being utilized for childcare. So just to clarify, the table there shows new spaces that we are looking to add. And in your report, there is a link to a comprehensive table that shows all sites and the kind of childcare that is located at all of the sites and the number of the spaces.
Thank you.
All right. Trustee Yang, last question, then we're going to move on.
Thank you. My second question came back to mind. So just around, my understanding is that childcare spaces on school grounds, the child receiving care does not necessarily have to be the child that goes to that specific school. Is that correct? So, for example, if a kid or if a child or a student at Cook attends Cook and requires after-school care, they could theoretically go to a child care facility at Tom Set, for example. Would that be a possibility?
Some childcare programs for school age do have busing capabilities, and that is typically to support lists that are full and they need support by bringing a child to a space that has space at a different school. It's not typical practice before and after school care unless it's built into the license that they have that ability to transport. So it gets a bit more complicated, but you are correct with childcare that happens with children before the age of school. Before school age, it's where a parent chooses to take them to because they're in control of the transportation.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next item, item 6, the approval of minutes from prior meetings. There is a record of an in-camera meeting of the board held Wednesday, May 20th, 2026. There is a regular meeting of the board held Wednesday, May 20th, 2026 for approval. The minutes are in your package, trustees. Looking for a mover or a seconder. Moved by Trustee Wong, seconded by Trustee Larson. All in favor? Thank you. All right, here we go again. 7, business arising from prior minutes. Okay, there is a notice of motion regarding the district track field, and I'm just going to read the motion. And the Board of Education of School District Number 38 requests staff to report back on options for reinstating a competitive track and field format, and further develop and present options for inclusive and meaningful participation opportunities for students who are unable or unwilling to participate in competitive events, including resource implication, equity consideration, and the benefits from physical activity, skill development, and a positive school experience. So that motion will appear on the next agenda in September. Item C, 2025 Climate Change Accountability Report Summary. We have a report from our senior staff, or from the staff, sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. I'd like to introduce or invite our Director of Richmond Project Team, Mr. Jonathan Ho, to present the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to cut to the chase on the report. If you take a look at page 38 of your package, there's a table that sort of describes what our emission comparison has been from 2024 versus 2025, the latest reporting year. I basically need to point out that this was a result of a computational change imposed by the province. Effectively, what happened was there were two sources of emissions that got had a calculation change. One was emissions related to electricity use. The other one's related to what's called fugitive emissions, or any refrigerants that escape things like refrigerators or commercial fridges in some of our red seal trades in high schools, or any rooftop units that have air conditioning in them. So the province has decided that they're going to track those kinds of emissions because refrigerants do make a significant contribution to climate change. If you take the fugitive emissions away, we've actually still done a really good job overall year over year. And in fact, against our overall climate action targets, we're achieving a 32% reduction in building emissions and a 20% reduction in fleet emissions compared to our 2007 baseline. Just that between 2024 and 2025, it doesn't look like we've made so much change just because of the calculation updates. Other than that, the rest of the details in the report, and I'm happy to take questions at this time.
All right, trustees, are there any questions for Mr. Ho? Your hand up? Go ahead, Dave, or Trustee Yang.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the report. Yeah, just a couple questions. And I do appreciate the explanation on the new way of calculating those emissions. I do note that I believe last year, when we under the calculations last year and the year before, we've actually seen consecutive years of increased GHG emissions. So I guess my question would be, what are ways that the district's continuing to mitigate those emissions in the efforts of meeting those targets? And I guess the second piece to that question is, are we still on track to meet those 2030 targets as outlined in the sustainability plan?
Yeah, through the chair, in terms of actions that are being taken right now, one of the other challenges that we've seen recently is that we've also increased our overall footprint in the district. We've added modular additions at Ptolemy and Tomset this current year, and also modular childcare at Spilukwoks and Garden City. So those added to some of our energy consumption targets, unfortunately. But what I will say is that overall, we are making much more design strides in more efficient ways of using that energy. So heat pumps, for example, are the primary heating and cooling and ventilation for those additions. And the new City Center Elementary, we are equipping one wing of that school with heat pumps as well. So we are definitely reducing our overall natural gas consumption, but we are seeing an increase in electricity consumption overall.
All right, I see Trustee Tablani's hand.
Yeah, I'm just really curious about the fugitive emissions, because they're basically leaks and things. So how are we tracking that? Like, how on earth do you even track that?
Through the chair, actually, it's basically done by formula. What we had to provide to the province was an inventory of all the refrigerators in the district, all the commercial refrigerators at, for example, Richmond High and McNair, which have our culinary arts programs, and all of our heat pumps and rooftop units that do have air conditioning, which we do have throughout the district, including this building. And so what the province actually did was a pilot project where they actually measured those fugitive emissions of those different appliances at different ages. And so they actually have a really detailed table that actually says, if you have this kind of appliance at this age, this is what you calculate. So we don't do it directly, but we use the province's pilot data to provide that information.
So it's measured by age.
Yes.
I thought, how on earth could you? It's very interesting, and thank you.
Yeah.
Trustee Yang, you want to make a final comment?
Yeah, just a brief comment if I can, Chairperson. So just wanted to take this opportunity to share my appreciation for facilities staff and folks that are working in energies and sustainability. You know, we're entering sort of in the big picture where, you know, climate solutions, climate sustainability isn't just talked a lot or the actions have rolled back. You see that up and down senior levels of government. You know, in Richmond, one of the things that I'm super proud of, and when I go out there to talk to folks in the public education realm, is the fact that we have a nationally leading climate action plan. And so that should not be, you know, I take the chance to celebrate that every time this item comes up, or, you know, the topic of climate action comes up, because we really do have a strong plan, and I look forward to the next iteration of that plan. But we need to do this not only for the now, but because, as the wall says, and we refer to it all the time, our focus is on the learner, and if we don't have a sustainable future for them, we're doing them a disservice. So thank you for all the work you do.
All right, Trustee Larson.
I just want to thank you also personally for your passion for and dedication to this work, as Trustee Yang points out, is remarkable. And it's felt at the facilities and buildings, meetings, and what you do, and the way you're able to bring it to us so that we know what's happening and understand what's happening is really appreciated. So thank you very much for I almost get excited when you sit there and start to bring this forward, because you can tell it really matters to you. So thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
Trustee Beliza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In 2025, thank you for a tremendous job. In 2025, we have achieved 32% reduction in building and 20% reduction in fleet emission. And considering that 84% of the district overall emission is on the building, and we have a target on 2030, how are we going to achieve? Is there any strategic plan there that your department is trying to envision and to implement?
Yeah, through the chair, the primary ways in which we're going to do this is as our HVAC equipment ages out and is replaced, we're looking at natural gas backup and primary electricity and heat pump provision. That's going to be the biggest ticket item, especially at our secondary schools, because those have the electrical service requirements to allow us to do that. So that'll be the biggest ticket item. The next biggest thing is not nearly as high tech, but it's all about building envelope upgrades. So it's making the buildings less leaky, better insulated, replacing failed windows, and updating roofs. And so those are a lot of projects that I know are undertaken by my counterpart, Director Wilkins, as part of his facility services and minor capital projects. And we always ensure that where we have the opportunity, we want to make sure those building envelopes increase their energy efficiency. We've seen in previous projects a 20% reduction in overall energy consumption just through a building envelope upgrade, and we certainly continue to advocate for that for the province.
Good job.
All right. Trustee Wong, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. So my question is that, so I know that the heat pump is installed in all the modular classroom. So is that can install in the building of the school?
Through the chair, only if there's sufficient electrical capacity. So where, for example, at Dixon Elementary, that's undergoing a seismic upgrade right now, we actually had to do an electrical service upgrade in order to accommodate the addition of heat pumps there. So we would have to undertake any addition of heat pumps in conjunction with an electrical service upgrade, and that's something we would have to negotiate with BC Hydro.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Earl, thank you very much, and job well done, and keep doing what you're doing, because obviously we're going in the right direction.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to item 7D, basically charitable donation report. We have a report from our Assistant Secretary Treasurer. She's not here, so our Secretary Treasurer will. Anything you want to share with us?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, the annual charitable donation report is on page 41. For 2025, the total donations received during this year was over $390,000 compared to about $378,000 received in the prior year, and this represents a 4% increase year over year. So we want to take the opportunity here to thank the Richmond community for their generosity and continued support to our schools. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Trustee Yang.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you to the Secretary Treasurer for that report and the Assistant Secretary Treasurer. Just a question on the district scholarship fund, and that line item is noted on page 42. And, you know, it's so great to see that we're able to grow that fund year over year. And, you know, as you've mentioned correctly, you know, thanks to this generosity of folks in our community. My curiosity is how exactly the funds get distributed to each of our 10 high schools, recognizing that some of our high schools have significantly stronger community support than others, right? So just the process of how those funds get distributed.
Yeah, absolutely. So scholarship fund, when it's set up is typically we draft a agreement between the donor and the school district. So the donor of the scholarship fund, they will prescribe and provide the stipulation in terms of how to allocate and distribute the scholarships. So we follow the donor's will and instruction, and through the process, we work with obviously our learning services department. We have dedicated director of instruction to work with our secondary schools to select the scholarship winners from our graduating class. And through that, we honor the wish of the donors in our schools.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Trustee Paliza, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My concern is about the future of district food programs. We know that donation, part of this goes to Feeducate, which also help responding to the district food programs. Now, with the financial difficulties that we have and the funding for the food programs, how do you describe the future funding of this program?
Yeah, absolutely. Trustee Paliza, thank you for your question. So the district's food program right now is primarily supported by the designated special purpose provincial grant, which is called the Feeding Futures funding. Yeah, so Richmond School District, as part of the government program, we have been receiving over $2 million every year to support that program. And the funding is provided to all our schools to support the students in need. And also, you know, community fridge program, things like that. So the Feeducate, before the introduction of the government special purpose grant, Feeducate played a key role in supporting a student in need. With the introduction of the government provincial funding, so that need has been supported by the provincial funding. So the provincial funding now has. It was a 3-year funding when they first introduced the grant. Now it has become one of the ongoing funding. So with the ongoing funding from the province, the program is being supported.
Question. So this year, we've done 6 years of our Feeducate golf tournament, and we've raised $160,000. Where does that money show up? Or what line is?
Yes. So this year in Assistant Secretary Treasurer's report, one of the line item is district's Feeducate program fund. This year in 2025, the revenue for that program is $34,900. $34,900. So that's, the majority of that revenue was raised through the tournament.
Okay. All right, folks, any other questions? Okay, let's move on. We're moving on finally to new business. There's a trustee elections bylaw number 2026-01. Secretary Treasurer Wang, can you speak to it?
Certainly. Thank you, Chairperson. Trustees, page 44 is the report relating to the trustee elections bylaw. So according to legislation, the City of Richmond conducts the school trustees election during the municipal election process. So the city's civic election bylaw applies to trustees elections with the exception of 4 areas. Number 1 is minimum number of nominators, nomination deposits, order of names, and also resolution of tie votes. So these 4 areas, as a Board of Education, you must have a bylaw to govern that. So we have been working collaboratively with the Chief Elections Officer in the city to make sure the board's bylaw is consistent with the city's elections bylaw. So as you can see, the bylaw number 2026-01, this bylaw has been reviewed and approved by the legal counsel at BCSTA. So here, staff would recommend that the Board of Education approve the elections bylaw by way of 3 readings in today's meeting. Thank you.
Okay, the recommendation from the Secretary Treasurer is that the Board of Education of School District Number 38, Richmond, approve trustee election bylaw number 2026-01 by way of 3 readings. Do I have consensus that 3 readings of trustee election bylaw number 2026-01 take place in this meeting? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Thank you very much. Folks, I apologize for this, but I've got to read 3 pages of the stuff. And here we go. I will read the first reading of the bylaw in full. Bylaw number 2026-01, Board of Education of School District Number 38, Richmond, Trustee Elections Bylaw 2026, a bylaw to establish procedure for the conduct of trustee elections. The Board of Education of School District Number 38 wishes to establish procedures for the conduct of trustee elections. Accordingly, the Board of Education of School District Number 38 in a public meeting enacts its Trustee Elections Bylaw number 2026-01. Number 1, scope of bylaw. 1.1, this bylaw applies to both general school election and by-elections except as otherwise provided. 2.1, trustee of School District Number 38 are elected at large. 2.2, School District Number 38 comprise 1 trustee electoral area consisting entirely of the City of Richmond. Number 3, definition. 3.1, terms used in this bylaw have the meaning assigned in the School Act, the Local Government Act, the Local Election Campaign Financing Act, and the Elections Act as applicable. 3.2, in this bylaw, board means Board of Education of School District Number 38. By-election means a trustee election other than one conducted as part of a general school election to fill a vacancy on the board in any of the circumstances described in Section 36 of the School Act. Chief Election Officer means the person appointed by the City of Richmond to perform the duty of the Chief Electoral Office under the School Act, the Local Government Act, and the Local Elections Campaign Financing Act for trustee elections. City means the City of Richmond. Minister means the Minister of Education and Child Care. School District means the School District Number 38. Number 4, application of City of Richmond election bylaws. 4.1, trustee elections in the school district are conducted by the city pursuant to Section 37(1) of the School Act. 4.2, the election bylaws of the city apply to school trustee elections conducted by the city, except for those sections of the city election bylaws determining the minimum number of nominators, the order of names on the ballot, the resolution of tie votes after judicial recount, requiring a nominal deposit, or any other matter in which the local government bylaws may not apply to a trustee election. Number 5, order of names on the ballot. 5.1, the order of names of the candidate on the ballot will be alphabetical. 6, resolution of tie vote after judicial recount. 6.1, in the event of a tie vote following a judicial recount, the tie vote will be turned by lot in accordance with Section 151 of the Local Government Act. Number 7, 7.1, number 7 is nomination deposit. 7.1, no nomination deposit is required except for nomination for the office of school trustee. 8, number of nominators. 8.1, the minimum number of qualified nominees for a trustee candidate is 2. Number 9, access to nomination documents and campaign financing disclosure statements. 9.1, public access to nomination documents of trustee candidates provided by the city in accordance with the election bylaws of the city. 9.2, the board will make available to the public by website access without charge of disclosure statements of supplemental reports required to be made available by the BC Chief Electoral Officer of the Election BC authorized website other than 9.21, a mailing address or residential address of a significant contributor, or 9.2.2, a telephone number, mailing address, or residential address of a candidate, until 5 years after general voting day for the election to which the trustee's disclosure statement and supplementary reports relate. 9.3, the board will, on request, provide copy or other record of trustee candidates' disclosure statements and supplementary reports for as long as they are required to be available to the public under sections 9.1 or 9.2, or for a fee of 50 cents per page. 9.4, before providing the services under the section other than to a board officer or employee acting in the course of their duties, the board may require the person requesting the service to 9.41 satisfy to a board official that any purpose for which personal information is to be used is permitted by the Local Government Act and Section 63 of the Local Elections Campaign Financing Act, and 9.42 provide a signed statement that the individual, and if applicable, any individual or organization on whose behalf of the first individual is accessing, inspecting, or obtaining the copy of other records will not use the information included in the copy or other records except for purpose permitted under the Local Government Act of the Local Elections Campaign Financing Act. Number 10, title. 10.1, this bylaw may be called the School District Number 30 Trustee Bylaw 2026. Number 11, repeal. 11.1, any trustee election bylaw of School District Number 30 is repealed. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the first reading? Trustee Sargent, Trustee Yang, thank you. Moved and seconded. I now call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. The first reading is carried. I will now read the second reading of the bylaw in summary, so this is not as bad. As trustees have the full bylaw in front of you. Trustee election bylaw number 2026-01 is prepared in accordance with the School Act, the Local Government Act, and applicable election legislation, and establishes procedures for the conduct of trustee elections. The bylaw provides that trustee elections are conducted by the City of Richmond and that the election bylaws of the City of Richmond apply to trustee elections except for the following matters in which are governed by this bylaw. A, the order of names on the ballot. B, resolution of tie votes after judicial recount. C, nomination deposit. 4, the minimum number of nominators. 5, any other matter on which the city election bylaw may not by law apply for a trustee election. Can I have a mover and seconder for the second reading? Trustee Beliza, Trustee Yang, thank you. Are there any questions or discussions? Thank you. I now call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Second reading is carried. I will now read the third reading of the bylaw as trustees have the full bylaw in front of you. Trustee election bylaw number 2601 is prepared in accordance with the School Act, the Local Government Act, and applicable election legislation, and establishes procedures for the conduct of trustee elections. The bylaw provides that trustee elections are conducted by the City of Richmond and that the election bylaws of the City of Richmond apply to trustee elections except for the following matters which are governed by this bylaw. A, the order of names on the ballot. B, resolution of tie votes after judicial recount. C, nomination deposit. D, the minimum number of nominators. E, the other matter of which the city election bylaws may not by law apply to a trustee election. Can I have a mover and seconder for the third reading? Trustee Larson and Trustee Wrong, thank you. Are there any questions or discussions? Not seeing it, I call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? Third and final reading is carried. Trustee election bylaw number 2026-01 has been read a first, second, and third time, is passed and adopted the 17th day of June 2026. Thank you, folks, for bearing with us on that one. Okay, we're now going to move on to new business item AB. We have a recommendation regarding our 2027-28 five-year capital plan, bracket major capital. Report from our Secretary Treasurer.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. The five-year capital plan report is on page 50 of the package. The five-year capital plan was structured based on the district's long-range facilities plan and based on the collaborative work with the ministry staff. So district staff recommends that the Board of Education approve the 27-28 five-year capital plan through the adoption of the attached board resolution so that staff can submit it to the Ministry of Infrastructure for capital planning purposes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before we go to questions, I would like to get this thing moved and seconded. So I'm looking for a mover and seconder. Trustee Sargent moved, seconded by Trustee Yang. Does anyone want to speak to it? Okay. Are there any questions for Assistant Superintendent Yang?
Thank you very much.
Treasurer.
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Sounds the same after a while.
It's starting to get to a very long night, so.
That's right.
Yeah, just a question. Thank you very much, Secretary Treasurer. Just a few questions on this one. I note that in our plan, we've provided an option 1 and option 2 for the seismic mitigation program. I don't recall seeing various options. Is this something new? And if so, I guess the rationale for that?
Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Trustee Yang, for that question. That was a really good observation. The two options of the seismic mitigation programs was requested by the Ministry of Infrastructure. As we can understand, the provincial government experiencing significant fiscal constraint. So option 1 was a continuation of the current and previous methodology, where as long as we have a high-risk rating block, we will renovate or upgrade the entire facility, entire building blocks together. So that's the option number 1. Option number 2, obviously, is attempting to separate the building blocks based on the risk rating. So this is a pilot program that the government is trying to implement or to see whether it will work or not. So in this under this option, the higher risk rating blocks will be undergo upgrade first. And the blocks that have lower risk ratings will be upgraded at a later date. So obviously, that's an attempt to try to lower the cost, and then also in a manageable time frame as well. So that's the request we received from the ministry.
I appreciate the clarification. And then just my last question, just on the priority list. Has that changed at all from the plan we submitted last year?
No, the priority list hasn't really changed.
Sorry, the order of it, sorry.
Yeah, the order hasn't really changed that much. And obviously, the City Center Elementary School number 4 there, it is actually currently undergoing a business case analysis. So, so even though we have the priority list as listed here, but it is ultimately up to the ministry to decide which project to approve first.
Thank Thanks very much. Keep up the good work.
Trustee Tablatny.
Yeah, well, thanks for the, explanations. I noticed, though, that we still have, quite a few facilities that have H1. I mean, there's a lot, at least, was 23, at least 23, if not more. And I know we worked really hard trying to get all those seismic upgrades, and yet we're still, at that high number. And for a while, it was like 12 years, we weren't getting anything. And then I have to say it, the government changed, and the wheels on the bus started moving again. But because of that period of time and the need for a long-range facility plan, I mean, we suffered all this backlog. We're still trying to catch up. So I just wanted to note that it's going to take us a long time to get our buildings seismically upgraded, and then I guess as they get older, they go back on the list. But I don't know how you ever keep up. It's very interesting, and I can't imagine Surrey. So we've been lucky to get seismic upgrades, but there's still lots to do.
All right, any more questions? Trustee Beliza?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much for this preparations of this 5-year capital plan. More interested to know about the school expansion program. It seems that there is kind of a positive note here. Can you explain more about it?
Sorry, Trustee Beliza, thank you for the question. However, can you clarify?
On page 51, it mentioned about school expansion program. Item number 2, major capital programs. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for the question again. Yes. So as you know, we, for example, in Richmond City Center has experienced significant enrollment growth over the last 4 or 5 years. So this type of expansion program is exactly to accommodate those type of situation, to provide additional student seats in the areas that are under space pressure. So 4 of the city center schools have received expansion support from the government over the last 3 years. In the current capital plan, we do have Hamilton Elementary School listed as the next expansion program, because the student enrollment growth is happening in that area, and then also the school utilization has been very high.
So this is different from the Odland school?
So you're talking about the new City Center Elementary School? Yes, so the new City Center Elementary School, that is a different category. It is not a expansion program, it's a new school program. It's a school acquisition program, which is, it's a hybrid between government support and also the board's effort.
And it's also mentioned of the 5 modular classroom at Hamilton Elementary Schools.
Correct, yeah. So the Hamilton Elementary School expansion could be fit under number 2.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any more questions? Thank you, Secretary Treasurer Wang. We're going to move on to our next item, number C. What?
You haven't passed the
We didn't.
resolution.
Sorry, we have a recommendation. It's been moved and seconded. We've had discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Recommendation is carried. All right. Our next one is number C, recommendation 2026-27, school-age care on school grounds, minor capital brackets. Report from Secretary Treasurer.
Yes, Chairperson, the report is on page 58. But I do need to correct a typo in the board resolution on page 61, where it says McKinney Elementary School. It should be McNeely Elementary School. So that's a typo. Apologies for the typo. Staff, we do recommend that the Board of Education approve the 26-27 school age care on school grounds funding application through the adoption of the board resolution for submission to the Ministry of Infrastructure. So this recommendation is related to new before and after school care creation. One is New City Center Elementary School, and the other one is McNeely Elementary School. Did I say secondary? I'm sorry. I apologize. New City Center Elementary School and McNeely Elementary School. So that's my report, and welcome any questions or comments.
Before we go to questions, can I get a mover and a seconder for this recommendation? Moved by Trustee Larson, second by Trustee Wong. Now, any questions regarding school age care on school grounds? Not seeing any on this side, not seeing any on this end. Good. Okay, I'm going to call the question. All in favor of the recommendation? Opposed? Recommendation is carried. Thank you. Okay, new business 8D, recommendation regarding 26-27 eligible school site proposal. Once again, report from the Secretary Treasurer.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. The report is on page 62. Staff recommends the Board of Education approve the 26-27 eligible school site proposal through adoption of the proposed resolution attached to the report. So this is an annual process required by legislation. This ESSP resolution must be passed annually to plan for future school site acquisition. So that's my report. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to read the recommendation. Recommendation of the Board of Education of School District Number 38 approve the 2026-2027 eligible school site proposal through adoption of the 2026-2027 ESSP resolution. Looking for a mover and a seconder. Thank you, Trustee Yang and Trustee Sargent. Are there any questions regarding this recommendation? Looking down both sides, not seeing any, so I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? The recommendation is carried. Okay. We have a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee Annual Update Report from our Assistant Superintendent Brodigan is attached. Did I miss something?
School charge.
Oh, school charges. Isn't everything free? No. All right. School charges, recommendation, actually, Superintendent, you want to speak to it?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The report appears on page 67 in your package. Last year, the board approved an increase in terms of elementary school fees from $33 to $35, and we're not recommending an increase this year. But I just want to just make a point here, to draw to your attention that when the board made that increase last year, from 33 to 35. A number of our schools, due to the timing of that increase, a number of our schools continued, did not charge the new rates, even though it was approved by the board. And that's okay. We're not going back and trying to recoup extra funds from families. The bottom line is that the fees are the status quo for 26-27 school year, no increase. But the reason I flagged that point from last year is that for families that were charged the previous fee, the $33, for those families, they may consider this to be an increase in terms of, but for most of our schools, they charge the $35. So that's the report. happy to respond to any questions.
Yeah, I'm going to read the recommendation that the Board of Education approve the 2026-27 schedule of school charges for elementary and secondary school in accordance with the School Act. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Trustee Sargent, seconded by Trustee Wong. Do we have any questions? Trustee Yang, followed by Trustee Wong. Go ahead.
Just a brief comment to just thank staff for maintaining the rates when it comes to the school supplies fee. In my time on this board, I've seen this fee go from $30 to $33, and then from that to the $35. I always hesitant when I see this go up because, you know, it could be just the $2 or $3 for certainly for me as a working individual, and that's a cup of coffee, but for the most unfortunate families in our district, that just the every dollar just goes that far, gives them that much more runway in their family finances, and so just my extended way to say that this is very much something that I'm glad to see for this upcoming school year to maintain a steady rate for families. Thank you.
Trustee Wong.
Thank you, Chairman. So my question is on the page 69. So just like Superintendent report that the last year the board have approved for increase to the fee from 33 to 35. And due to time of this decision, a small number of schools may not have fully implement the revised rates immediately and have continued to charge $34 during the 2025 and 2026 school year. So can anything just like can avoid that happen again? So the other schools not, just like some of the schools not, is that follow the direction?
Well, through the chair, thank you, Trustee Wong. I will certainly, after this board meeting, as early as tomorrow, there will be communication to schools in terms of what the rate is. We don't anticipate a repeat of that. Last year, remember, was the change happened last year, 33 to 35. But schools now have caught up, and the communication there'll be communication that goes out from my office to schools tomorrow. Before this report is actually gathered from school administrators. So the schools, they provide this information to us. So they're well aware that it's 35. So the response to your question is that, you know, because the communication is going to be out tomorrow, and our school leaders are already aware of this, we don't anticipate that there will be sort of that delay in charging the set fee of $35.
Thank you. So make sure every school have the same
Communication, that's correct.
Trustee Beliza, followed by Trustee Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. While I support the recommendations, there are pundits out there because we are having financial deficit. Why are we not increasing the charges? So can you probably answer that kind of concern? Thank you.
Well, through the chair, Trustee Beliza, of course, anytime we go through a financial challenge, as the board is well aware, we make decisions, again, that try to minimize impact on families. So while, you know, Trustee Yang made a point that for some families, that additional charge, it's especially in this fiscal environment. So this year we made the decision that because the board had approved it last year, albeit a marginal increase last year, that for this year we will leave it as status quo. We just maintain we maintain it at $35. And you know, you are right. We could have brought forward for the board's consideration an increase. Whether or not the board will approve that would be a different matter. But I think given the fiscal environment that we are today, you know, I know it's not a lot, but hopefully families will appreciate the fact that there was not an increase this year. Thank you.
Trustee Larson.
Thank you. I just want to clarify, in situations like, for example, the school planner, if there are families in need, the principal counselors, whoever's involved at the schools, they, at their discretion, they're able to provide so that no child goes without.
Yes, well, thank you very much, Trustee Larson, through the chair. And it's reflected in the report as well that we want to make sure, to your point, that no child, no student is denied, that if families are in that situation, the fee is waived.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? Seeing no other questions, I'm going to read the recommendation that the Board of Education approve the 2026-27 schedule of school charges for elementary and secondary schools in accordance with the School Act. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Recommendation is carried. All right, now we'll get back to 8F, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee Annual Update.
Good evening. My report is on page 73 of your package, and it highlights actions underway across each priority area of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee. The committee has continued to offer input and feedback on work in progress, helping to shape both ongoing implementation and the next steps within each priority area. Over the past year, the work of the DEI Advisory Committee has continued to shift. What began as a series of initiatives is increasingly becoming a more coordinated, system-wide approach to equity across the district. There's a growing sense of coherence across departments, schools, and the different areas of focus. Evidence of this shift can be seen in several areas. The continued rollout and refinement of the Responding to Incidents of Harm framework is starting to bring greater clarity and consistency to practice across schools, particularly in how incidents are addressed and followed up. Student voice is also becoming more central, not only as feedback, but as a source of evidence that is shaping district direction and informing school-based action. There is also increasing alignment around belonging and safety. This is supported through coordinated work across teams, as well as through system-level data included in the Belonging Survey, which is in its second year of implementation, and is beginning to provide more consistent evidence to inform planning. In parallel, Indigenous structures as per Bill 40 are now more firmly in place and are contributing to decision-making and implementation for Indigenous students in more sustained ways. Board Policy 102 is increasingly visible across district initiatives, and staff learning in the areas of equity and anti-racism continues to expand, both in response to system priorities and to ongoing staff and student requests. Engagement with parents and caregivers is also evolving with attention to accessibility, clarity, and opportunities for dialogue. Taken together, the work reflects a system that is moving toward greater coherence and alignment. There is growing evidence that structures, processes, and practices are becoming more connected, more intentional, and more responsive in supporting equity across the district. I want to thank the DEI Advisory for their commitment and hard work this year in providing feedback and reviewing documentation on district initiatives and progress on strategic priorities. I would also like to thank the staff team, Liz Hayes-Brown, Navshina Savory, and Baron Sui, for their tremendous work on the portfolio over the last 5 years. It is and has been an honor and privilege to work with them. Thank you. That is my report. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much. So this report is for information only, but so do we have any questions? Trustee Larson, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a great report. When you talk about the background and obviously the growing and so on, my glasses are weird. For the different bullets, does this include staff as well, like all school members, not just students, right? Sort of an overall, everyone in the district kind of thing, would you say?
Yes, that's right, through the chair. Thank you for the question. The advisory committee advises on work that is about students, but also as the district community as a whole. So that includes staff, parents, all people who come into our spaces.
Thank you. And if I could just follow up really quickly, when I was sitting on the committee for a couple of years ago, one thing that I was most impressed with, and I know it continues to the day, but one of the other partner group representatives talked about how important the posters were in let's say, technology services and everywhere else. It was for all, and that was such a really good, and I know that continues, so thank you.
Thank you.
Trustees, Trustee Beliza, followed by Trustee Yang. Trustee Beliza?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And by the way, thank you very much for the Diversity and Anti-Racism Working Group for implementing systemic change. We know that there's still a lot of stuff to be done, but can you share with us major challenges that we face in terms of DEI, can you?
Thank you. Yes, through the chair. Thank you for that question. That's a big question. Equity work is always ongoing. That work is never done. Being attuned to what students need and what our employees need and our community needs in terms of diversity, equity, inclusion changes as the landscape of the world changes. And so one of the things that's important in this work is to be aware and attuned and responsive to what's happening in the world, because what happens in the world reflects in our schools. And that is our work as educators, is to help students understand how to live and work alongside each other and respect each other's diversity.
Do we have record or of violations of the, this anti-inclusionary issues in our district?
Thank you for that question. We don't keep documentation of the number of incidents, but we do respond to every incident that comes up, and we do ask for feedback from students and their experience through the Student Voice Forum and also through the Belonging Survey, and the Ministry Student Learning Survey helps give us data on how students are feeling around safety and belonging and being welcome in our schools, and that helps us to respond.
All right. Are there any other questions, comments? Trustee Yang?
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you to the Assistant Superintendent for that report, and certainly having worked with you and committee members in the last couple of years, it's really opened my eye, and it's a grounding for me too every time I attend the advisory committee meeting, to remind myself how important it is in the work that we do continues. And one of the things I'll just quickly highlight is the responding to incidents of harm, the work that we did there. And, advisory committee members got really hands-on, providing feedback, just unpacking the nuance of different types of harms that exists out there and how do we address it. And I think the document will be very important to make sure that we respond to any of these harms in a culturally appropriate and sensitive manner. And I think that does well for all our learners, especially in Richmond, where we know is a diverse community across all identities and stripes. So I really just want to thank you for that. And I guess as a more formalized way to thank everybody's work, I did share a motion that I want to move, which is, and I'll read it for everybody's reference, that the board, express its sincere appreciation to the DEI Advisory Committee and to all committee participants for their demonstrated care, professionalism, and commitment in strengthening Policy 102 of the district, and B, reaffirm its commitment to support the continuation of the DEI Advisory Committee as a board-established advisory committee, and really just a way to put that in writing and to say a big thank you, because the work really does matter and we all need to ground ourselves in that commitment. So I will so move when...
Motion is moved. Looking for a seconder. Trustee Tablani, second. Any discussion? Trustee Tablani.
Well, I just wanted to, thank Assistant Superintendent Rodegam for all her work. I remember the early infancy of this committee and the work that we did to get it going, and now it's running along. And yes, the work we did on reducing harm and actually knowing, ways that we harm and getting people to recognize, So it was a whole big document that we've been working through. And I think, this committee has done a great amount of work in the last few years. So I will definitely support the motion to thank the DEI committee for all the work.
Any more comments or questions? Not call the motion, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you, Trustee Yang. And we are going to move on to our, not last, but second to last item under new business. Sexual orientation, gender identity, annual report. Looking at Director of Instruction, Student Services, Raj Johal. Thank you.
Good evening. The purpose of this report is to provide an update regarding the implementation of Policy 106, Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity, SOGI. The full report is in tonight's package on pages 78 to 80, and I'll speak to a few highlights from this school year. Please note this report is grounded in Priority 2 of the District's Strategic Plan, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. There continue to be 4 different goal areas that the SOGI Advisory works on in subcommittees throughout the school year. Under goals 1 and 2, a few highlights include the continuation of rainbow cafes that are held with students from secondary schools across the district in attendance. These gatherings provide participants with safe environments and leadership opportunities through planning and engagement with peers across the school district. With respect to professional learning, to continue to build educator capacity, the district's internal Learn 38 platform for staff received an update to SOGI Inclusive Education with a focus on knowledge, advocacy, and representation to support the development of practical teaching strategies for both elementary and secondary educators. In addition, this year we had another Rainbow Network for district employees, which is a district-wide event hosted in May, and that's open to any employee that identifies as 2S LGBTQIA+, or identifies as an ally, or as someone who wants to learn more about SOGI. Participants engaged in thoughtful reflection about what brought them to the event, as well as their aspirations for the Rainbow Network moving forward. Under goals 3 and 4, highlights include continued opportunities that district staff relayed to schools through bulletins, and this includes leadership opportunities connected to SOGI that are available in the community and also provided to the school-based SOGI leads and school counselors to share with students. In addition, the communication planning continues to include the quarterly SOGI newsletter that's published on a range of topics designed to support staff in their work through SOGI inclusive perspectives. And as part of the advisory partner groups, such as the RCMP, Vancouver Coastal Health, and the City of Richmond, continue to share updates as well as community resources available to students, staff, and families. In summary, district staff appreciate the significant commitment of all members of the SOGI Advisory Committee in their work advancing the implementation of Policy 106, and gratitude is also extended to the Board of Education for the support of this work. Open to any questions.
Okay, yeah, so this report is for information only, so we're not voting on anything, but if you do have questions, Trustee Larson?
I don't have a question, but the comment on the growth of the committee and what's happening slowly in our school, not slowly, but happening in our schools, but the work that we continue to do is so important. But what impresses me most is the safety of the committee itself for kids to be able to come and sit and share who they are and explain to people who don't understand that necessarily. And it's most impressive, so thank you. We're moving in the right direction for sure.
All right, sorry. Trustee Beliza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the great work of the SOGI committee with regard to, implementations of the policy. While we have a very good provisions for protecting and probably, doing good for the victims, now for the one perpetrating the offense, while we suggest supporting the rights of the community to students to access supportive and affirming counseling, I think we also have to do the same counseling for those who don't understand and who perpetuate these particular offenses. I think they need more counseling than the victims themselves, right? So I would encourage probably to expand more understanding for those who perpetuate the problem by giving them the understanding the consequences of their actions, and at the same time giving them, for humanity's sake, the right kind of counseling that so that they will be discouraged in doing that again to other students, so that everybody will have opportunity to develop individual potential. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments for Mr. Johal? Oh, Trustee Yang.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And I really appreciate Mr. Johal here today and just sharing your report and for the wonderful work. I guess my question would be, I guess from year to year, in your observation, we often talk about creating those safe spaces and spaces where folks of the community can feel comfortable in their own, whether that's school-based or district-based initiatives. Would you say there's an increase in participation, a decrease, or about the same compared to previous years?
Just to clarify, Trustee Yang, are you referring to participation with respect to
just
SOGI inclusive education initiatives? I mean, I would say, we're 8 years in since the policy was first passed, and I think it's the Board of Education with its consistent support has shown that this is something that we're deeply committed to, and that I would say that from year to year, we are seeing people grasp and understand the importance of this policy and how it really is grounded in human rights, and that we really want to continue to ensure that our students, staff, and parent community understand the importance of inclusion, and take these as learning opportunities that we can extend beyond our schools as well.
Well, thank you for that. And, I'm just going to quote the last sentence you have in the report, which I think is the essence of what we do, right? So supporting students and staff who identify as part of the 2S LGBTQIA+ community through a lens of equity, diversity, and inclusion contributes to the district's nurturing of safe and caring school communities. And I couldn't agree more, so thank you for the work you do. As I did for the previous agenda item on the DEI Advisory Committee, I'm also hoping to move the following motion as well, just to formalize that thanks, that the board expresses its sincere appreciation to the SOGI Advisory Committee and to all committee participants for their demonstrated care, professionalism, and commitment in strengthening Policy 106, 106-R, and 106-G of the district, and B, reaffirm its commitment to support the continuation of the SOGI Advisory Committee as a board-established advisory committee. So I'll leave that for the floor.
Okay. So you just made a motion, moved. I'm looking for a seconder. Trustee Sargent. Any further questions or comments? Okay. I'm going to call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Superintendent Youssef would like to say a couple words.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to publicly acknowledge Director Johal and the team and the committee that does this work. And I think it's important to note that senior staff and the board, our commitment to ensuring that all students and staff, adults in our organizations, are able to participate fully in their learning, in their work, and to be in spaces that are welcoming, inclusive, and respectful. And while I recognize that there are issues of education and awareness, and we must continue to do so, to educate and aware, we have a collective responsibility, and I'm so pleased that to work in a district where we can have these conversations, where we continually strive to make sure that every child and every adult feels welcome, feels included, and feels safe. And that's a journey that we're all on, and I recognize that it's an ongoing journey, but I think it's important that senior leadership, including the superintendent, speak publicly on our support and our engagement for all persons in this organization, regardless of how they represent. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, last item under new business. We added it at the beginning with the adoption of the agenda, and that is a letter to the Standing Committee. Every year, the government holds, they form a committee called Standing Committee, and they listen to briefs and presentations from various groups across the province. In the education field, many school districts go there and, talk about what their needs and challenges they're facing, with the hope that the politicians are listening and will help us out. Now, this kind of caught us, kind of came up on us quickly, but we have to, if we are going to submit a brief to the Standing Committee, we need to do it within the next few days. A letter has been written, and Secretary Treasurer Wang, can you just talk a bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chairperson. So as the governor of the K-12 education system in Richmond, the Board of Education is very much committed to advocating for the provincial government's investment in public education. This year, the Board of Education will submit an advocacy letter to the Select Standing Committee for the Provincial Budget 2027. And as in previous years, the submission reflects the collective voice of the board and the education partners in the Richmond community. And those include the Richmond Teachers Association, QP Local 716, Richmond District Parents Association, Richmond Association of School Administrators, and Richmond Management and Professional Staff. So this year's Board of Education will submit 3 priorities. The first one is the Board of Education will advocate for sustainable and stable education funding for the K-12 education system as a whole. As you know, the school district is currently facing a projected for over $4 million operating shortfall in 26-27, and that is driven by reduced revenue due to external factors, but also the chronic underfunding for the unfunded cost pressures, whether it's compensation costs, inflationary cost pressures. And as you know, the education funding framework does not necessarily fully reflect those unfunded cost pressures in its funding formula. So therefore, the Board of Education is advocating for sustainable and long-term solution for the operating funding. The second priority the Board of Education will advocate for is a accelerated investment in the school seismic mitigation program. And as you heard in our 5-year capital plan, we still have more than 20 schools, older schools, that need a seismic upgrade. And obviously, the safety of students and staff is a top priority for the Board of Education and the government. So that's priority number 2. Priority number 3 is the board is going to advocate for capital funding for a new city center school, even though we're experiencing somewhat enrollment stagnation across the school district. However, city center is still it's going to experience sustained long-term population growth, and that is driven by urban densification, residential development in that area. So therefore, the Board of Education will advocate for capital funding for a new city center school in Richmond. So those are the 3 priorities that the board is going to advocate to the provincial government as they receiving or calling for feedback, budget feedback from the communities across the province. So that's my report. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay. Looking for a motion. Yep.
Yes, I've got one to read. Sorry. That the Board of Education approve the advocacy letter regarding Budget 2027, urging the provincial government to provide adequate and sustainable education funding to support the public education system and to advance seismic mitigation projects and major capital investments required to meet the long-term infrastructure needs of Richmond schools.
Okay, moved by Trustee Larson, seconded by Trustee Wong. Some little discussion here. Normally, we're a little bit sort of, the order got mixed up a bit in terms of, we do want to run this past our partner groups, and the letter will not go out until we've heard from our partner groups. Superintendent UC will be contacting them over the next couple of days. And so I just want to assure our partners that, yes, we do want your feedback, and it will go out to you right away tonight, tomorrow, and we'll look for your feedback, and everything looks good, then we'll try to send it out by the due date.
And the time and the due, it's 2 o'clock on Friday, the 19th.
Okay.
Is the due date.
So, discussion, Trustee Tabatabai.
I just wanted to ask, so are all the partner groups going to sign it? Because that's usually what we've done in the past. Everybody signed the letter, and sometimes we all presented it together too, but I know time is of essence, but.
If I may, through the chair, I think given the very tight timeline, the 19th is just a couple of days. So the Secretary and I will connect right after this meeting to make sure that we get a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it would just be good if all the partner groups signed off on it, because I think it has more impact that way.
Folks, any other questions or comments? Okay, not seeing any. Call the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, I imagine some of you have been waiting very patiently. Number 9, questions from the public. Members of the public are invited to come forward with questions regarding agenda items. We are supposed to take a list, but does anyone want to come forward to make a comment or ask a question? Yes. Can you identify yourself?
Not that we don't know.
Chair, trustees, senior staff, my name is Bob Jackson. I'm a former RSB employee for 36 years. The last 17 years, my responsibility was as the district athletic facilitator. One of the tasks in that was working with the elementary teachers, organizing the elementary track meets. My first track meet was actually, for elementary track meet, was 1972, when I was a phys ed teacher at Richmond High. We would take our community rec students to help run the track meets. The only way I could tell it was a school track meet was the uniforms, because it was a traditional track meet just like any other athletic track meets. In fact, there was three administrators in the district who were also coaches of KJAX, the track and field club. And what we were really running was an identification program for KJAX track program. All the meets, all the things were exactly the same. As those people disappeared, teachers took over, and a person like Mike Gullis, for 21 years or 22 years, was the key person for track. There was no elementary athletic association. It was just people who would step forward and volunteer. So I would work as the athletic facilitator with Michael, and we would discern which schools would go to which zones so we could balance it and have about the same number of people in the park a day. We determined when the meeting would be, and we'd have the meeting. Changes were hard in those days. And I would like to commend the board right now and senior staff for the process that you're going through to make changes to meet the needs of students that we have today. Back in those days, just about every elementary school had a person that was trained in physical education on their staff, and that person taught mainly all phys ed, taught kids in the PE classes how to do the different events in track and field like discus, shot, high jump, and coached after school. We don't have those kind of people in schools anymore. Many years ago, we got rid of most of the elementary PE people. So these schools today, they don't have resources in there to teach all the specifics to how to do safely some of the events in track and field. It was because of that that we started to move in a different direction. We got rid of some of the traditional events and started to include more relay races, mixed relays, multi-grade relays, in order to get more kids at the track. By having relay events, you bring in more students. We wanted to do that. Then in the 1990s, after, I guess, 15 years, Crestwood School was shut down in the late 70s, which was a school for special needs students, and all of those kind of students were integrated into the regular schools. When I was an athletic facilitator, I thought, these kids should be at the track meet too. And I had a tough time convincing colleagues then that we should be more inclusive. So I think we had 6 zones, and one zone said yes, and I said for the other 5 zones, we'll all run it. 11 o'clock in the morning, we'll shut the track down. We'll have from the 80-meter area to the finish line in front of all the parents, a little race, whether they're in a wheelchair or whether they're cerebral palsy, whether they need an aid, they can run. And from there, we'll go to ball throw. So that was the beginning of things. And I can remember seeing kids running down that track with their IV pole. That doesn't happen in any other district. I still don't think it happens. And if you go to some other districts around, like Vancouver, and I've watched my grandchildren in Delta, it's still traditional track meets. They're not inclusive, and we've been doing a great job. So I'd like to commend the staff and whatnot for doing a very comprehensive and involving all of the stakeholders, because with that, you'll come out with a much better product, because I know I would have loved to have that kind of support in those days. I think that the idea of a track meet is to have all students participating, if possible, and that should be a thing that we strive to get, so that kids feel included in everything that you do as a school district. Thank you.
Bob, thank you. I know we don't always ask questions or people come up, but does anyone have any questions or any comments they want to say or share? David, sorry? Yeah.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for being here. Special noting the time too, at 10:14. Really appreciate you being patient in the gallery and waiting for to come here, share your thoughts. I guess, you know, you've left a legacy with our district over your years of service. From your personal experience, do you think that students, including those who may not traditionally be, you know, quote unquote sporty, when they are given those opportunities, like you mentioned, those more inclusive opportunities to play and to explore difference, do you see an uptick in future participation? Is that?
Well, being a physical educator, the idea is to try to get people moving all their life. And that's what we're trying to teach in schools. So if you don't include a lot of the students into a physical activity like track and field, they're not going to be participating in anything, or they're not going to be running down the streets when they're 30 or 40 years old. I think that we got to understand we're an educational system, we're not a sport delivery system. And too often, the community sports would like to be in the schools to run their sports and have us run their sports. Example, where's the best basketball in the province? It's in schools, secondary schools. Okay? We're not a sport delivery system, we're an educational system, and I think we have to include all students.
Thanks for sharing that.
Trustee Watney?
Yeah, well, thank you for being the voice of reason, experience, and common sense. You've dedicated your life to athletics and to young people, and I think it's just admirable. And I thank you for coming up here and staying so late and speaking to us about this. You know, I myself, when I was young, I never got to a track meet. I wasn't fast enough. I was too shy. I was not one that would have been picked to go and do those track meets. But you know, as an adult, I started to run, and I loved running. And I've loved moving and fitness ever since, and partaking in different sports like biking and dragon boating and running. I didn't get those opportunities to learn those things. And now we're teaching our kids to do these things. I think if everyone had the chance, and all those kids have the chance to do those things, they'll learn what they like to do. I mean, I've even witnessed now going to dragon boat regattas. Our young people are participating in teams in dragon boat. I didn't have those opportunities in school. So I think we're doing a good job, and we need to remember that not every kid, I mean, very few of them are going to be professional athletes, but they certainly can stay healthy all their lives by being physically fit and involved and connected with other people in sports that they love to do. So thank you for coming up and being the voice of reason and experience. I appreciate it.
You know, Bob, I've known Bob for a number of years now. We've worked together on kids' sport, and I guess when I look at sports, I think the biggest problem we probably face is that we look at sports as an ends to, like, my kid's gonna, like Danny Chow, he's gonna win the Olympic medal, whereas sports are the means to better health, more friends, and so I think sports is a great tool to develop the child in all areas, in all facets. And, at the same time, too, I think, the key is, like, there's many different kids out there. And, bottom line is they want to have fun, and they want to, hopefully do something and learn something, but they want to have fun. And I think it's important that we don't lose sight of that. And skills are important. I mean, I have two kids who are very skilled and that kind of stuff, but also, too, I really believe we teach them. Like, you win with dignity, and sort of you win with class and you lose with dignity, sort of thing. And there's a lot of life lessons that sports can teach. And and I'll be honest too, I get caught up in some of the winning part and everything because of the kids I had and everything. But when you look at when you stand back and take a look, you realize that sports really is the means to somewhere. And it's not about, like, getting the scholarship or playing for the junior team or whatever. That's nice, but that's not what it's all about. And I guess my concern, though, is, you talked about years ago, there were, at every school, there was a teacher. And I remember my teacher, Mr. Young, who was very big into KJAX and everything. And, like, we're having a hard time, finding people like that. And, that's proving to be a big challenge. And, it's something that we have to overcome, but still, the message is still the same. Like, sports should be fun. Sports should be a means to, kids being healthier, not only mentally or physically, mentally as well, and so forth. So, thanks for your advice. Like I say, if anyone knows about sports enrichment, it's this man right here. So we need to take everything with a grain of salt there. And Trustee Sargent.
Bob, I've known you for a long time. You're making me emotional with you sitting there, waiting till 10:20 at night to tell us what you think. And you have always been a person, and when I was a young trustee, you would make sure you told me what you thought and what we need to do. You've always been a strong advocate for youth, and you still are. And when I think about the work that you do with kids sport, always championing the young people to keep trying, keep going, and for you to wait this long, Bob, to come before us and tell us what you think and where we should be going. We've had lots of conversation tonight about this subject, but I want to let you know that it really makes a difference, and you still are making a difference, Bob. And
Thank you.
I just want to applaud you for still caring so much about young people. And if you ever want to know about sports or about history, I think Ken's right, Trustee Hamaguchi's right. have a coffee with Bob Jackson. So thank you very much, Bob.
What I think what people in the community forget is that athletics should be just an extension of the classroom. It's not a be-all, end-all like a sporting club. And if you look at research about how people value it, parents have got winning and losing up very close to the top. The athlete, a young athlete, being with friends is more important than winning and losing. And for girls, the social aspect is even more important. And those things are forgotten when you try and run something at a very high level.
All right, Bob, Trustee Larson, you were sorry.
I just want to say thank you very much for the information you've shared with us tonight. And as our superintendent earlier mentioned with regards to the report, the importance of the opportunity for all. That opportunity piece is a huge piece for everything actually in our district, in all subjects and whatever, but it's that opportunity. And how you've presented tonight is from the heart, and it's felt, as everybody said. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Ken.
Well, it's a tough act to follow, you folks. Are there any other questions from the gallery? Anyone want to come forward? We don't have to worry about the list. We're at the end of the night here anyways. Okay, it's not seeing anyone coming forward. That includes question period. You don't have to stay, but we're almost wrapped up here. Standing committee reports, Audit Committee, Chairman Beliza, anything you want to add?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's no report, but just an announcement that the next meeting is scheduled on September 15, 2026.
Education Committee Chairperson Yang.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Minutes of the meeting held May 13, 2026 are attached for information. A meeting was held on Wednesday, June 10, 2026. Next meeting scheduled for September 16th at 6 p.m.
Facilities and Building Committee, that's mine. Minutes of the meeting held May 6th are attached for information. Meeting was held Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. The next meeting scheduled for Wednesday, September the 9th, 2026 at 4:30. Finance and Legal, Chairperson Wong.
Thank you, Chairman. The minutes of the meeting held on May 13, 2026 are attached for information. A meeting was held on Wednesday, June 10, 2026. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, September 16, 2026 at 10 a.m.
Okay, Policy Committee, Chairperson Blotny.
Guess what? Not going to disappoint you. I got a whole bunch of work here. First, on the agenda, there's a recommendation, Policy 701.11R, naming and renaming of school facilities and district facilities. I'm going to read the recommendation that the Board of Education approve revised Policy 701.11R, naming and renaming of school district facilities in accordance with Board Policy 204, creation and revision of policies and regulations. And over the past several years, we have been hearing about a lot of school renaming, actually renaming streets and other things. And it's been raised by members of the school community about renaming schools, and it's had increased attention across the country and has raised a lot of discussion. So we did initiate this work in 2020 and 2021, but with the former superintendent, and we paused it because we were developing the diversity, equity, inclusion policy. And on May 25th, that policy was passed, and so we've moved ahead with looking at a broad search of other policies throughout BC school districts, and there have been a couple of good exemplars that we have followed, and so therefore we have been working on this. making sure I get the right page. Since June 9th, 2025, it has been out, it's been through the Board Policy Committee, it has been to Public Policy Committee, and it has also gone out for consultation as well from February 19th to April 10th. And I just wanted to make a note about Public Policy Committee, because I think it's been stated that parents can't come, members of the public can't come and ask questions at our Public Policy Committee. That's what it's for. So yes, they can ask questions. That's what we do there. And so everything is transparent. Anyway, it's been out for partner review process, and we've incorporated any comments, and so therefore it is here looking for approval at this point. So looking for a seconder.
Looking for a seconder. Trustee Larson, thank you.
Okay.
Any further discussion or questions to Trustee Blondie?
No, I think I've explained it all. It's been in the package, and it's been around the block. What we did, instead of making a full renaming policy, we added it to our naming, and so now it's inclusive of both.
Okay, thank you. Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, carried. Your next one is?
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and the next one. And this one's certainly had a lot of discussion too. So this is a notice of motion, and it is a draft rewrite of policy 204 and 204R, which I referred to before, creation and revision of policy and regulations. And so this is a draft rewrite of that policy and a notice of motion to the June. We're going to have a special board meeting on June 24th at 5:30. That will be done by Zoom. I think we're publicizing that, should be on our website if anybody, it is a public meeting, if anybody wants to attend. And so this is a notice of motion that a recommendation for board's consideration will be presented at proposed special board meeting on June 24th to 1, reorganize board policies, bylaws, regulations, administrative guidelines to board policies, bylaws, and administrative procedures as presented, and it's in Appendix A2, and retire the current policy 204 or 204R, creation and revision of policy and regulations, and to approve a new policy, development and revision of policies and administrative procedures. And the reorganization of board policies, regulations and guidelines and bylaws, it was presented in September to the policy committee with a draft rewrite of 204 and 204R. And then at its October meeting, the committee directed staff to consult with BC School Trustees Association to identify a consultant that could come and lead a trustee workshop to understand, all the changes that we were going to move into. And in January, BCSTA actually issued a board policy review resource guide to support school districts in this kind of work. And we also did have a presentation from to the people that are heading up this work with BC School Trustees Association. And the Ministry of Education is also in support of these revisions. So we're moving from policies, because especially in our policy books, we have lots of policies, but a lot of them are administrative procedures, they're not even policies. And there's regulations. So what we're moving to is an approach where we will have a policy, and there will be administrative procedures, and that is what the superintendent directs his staff to do. So we have governance and operations. So, but we first have to retire that policy and then and put forward the rewrite. So this is a notice of motion. I know it's long-winded, but notice of motion to the special meeting on the.
Been moved by trustee Tablani. Looking for seconder. Trustee Sargent, any further questions?
Just point of order, Mr. Chairman. Notice of motion.
Yeah, that's what I just wondering.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
We do need a notice of motion. It's in our policy in
We
public.
need to notice the motion, but we don't need to vote on, are we?
No.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Okay, and you have one more?
I do. Another notice of motion, and this is to notice of motion to the June 24th also proposed special meeting of the Board of Education, and this is a notice of motion that a recommendation for the board's consideration will be presented at the proposed special board meeting to approve the following draft policies, which will be the role of the board, role of the superintendent, and board delegation of authority. There again, we have lots of exemplars on good policies, and the work's been done, so we will be presenting those at that meeting as well, and looking for approval on those, and they will not go into the partner group. None of these are going into the partner group for consultation because it is the board's work. It's considered the board's work and therefore doesn't go into partner group review. So that's it for me, and that's coming to June 24th. So.
Okay. Moving on to board committee, this is quick. Board committee and representative reports. Council Board Liaison Committee, anyone want to say anything? Next meeting is scheduled for September 9th, 2026 at 9:30. Nothing to report from BCSTA or BCPC. Someone want to?
BCPC had the AGM, June 15th. I attended. It was pretty short. It was very short, but they're presenting the budget financial statements. So
Okay.
that was it, and it was approved. No disputes or anything. So.
Wonderful. Correspondence, we did get some for information. City of Richmond, the overview of the Richmond's homelessness outreach and community program. Superintendent Eustace, do you want to?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to invite Assistant Superintendent Thompson to speak to speak to this, please.
Sherry, thank you so much. Sorry, I'm trying to lean forward. Yeah, just this report is being provided for information only. Feeding Futures manager Ian Lai participated in some different table discussions with community partners organized by the city. And so as part of our ongoing work at some of the social development tables, Ian Lai provided some information that you'll see in the package regarding food programs available through the school that inform some of the city's decision-making about food security programs in the community. And that's it. Thank you.
Any questions regarding the correspondence? Okay. Folks, as we wind down, just a couple of quick thoughts here. Thank you thank you for sticking it out tonight, like 10:30. That's amazing. But just in general, thank you to everyone for your support. And, you know, we always talk about focuses on the learners and everything, and it is about the kids. And, you know, obviously we have some different ideas as how we want to get there in terms of providing the kids with the best possible education, best possible program. And it's good to have differing opinions because it forces us to rethink things. And, you know, some things you think should be this way, and you hear someone else talk. You hear Bob Jackson talk, and you go, wait a second here. Maybe I need to rethink this. And we do a lot of that here. And but you know, at the the essence of what we do is about the kids, and that part is never in question, no matter who's speaking in front here. And once again, on behalf of the board, we want to thank all of you for being a part of the district, and I really want to thank especially our partners who come out all the time, and they're the only ones that come out all the time, and we were very appreciative of that, Liz. And Nicole, and Connie, And this is the problem when you start naming names, or you're going to forget someone. But anyways, we've kept you long enough. Thank you very much. Staff,
Move adjournment.
you want to move adjournment? I'm looking for a seconder. Alice, thank you. All in favor? Unanimous. Meeting's over. Except for trustees, we got to stick around. We're not finished yet.